Chapter 167. Lin Luoran uses the best spirit medicine and a Grade 2 alchemy furnace to make gathering chi boluses of the upper rank of Grade 1. Lin Luoran gets 35 boluses in the end. It seems that the success rate is only 35%, but it is enough to make Lin Luoran happy. This is the first time for her to make boluses. Gathering chi boluses can keep Reiki inside the body, which is most suitable for people like Mr. Lin and Baojia who haven't even reached the early stage of training Qi. They can absorb Reiki but can't keep it. Of course, in today's cultivation environment full of violent Reiki, the peaceful and pure Reiki of boluses is the most valuable part. One bolus has limited Reiki, but what about 100 boluses? It takes Lin Luoran 2 days to make such boluses. In this way, how many boluses should she exchange? Lin Luoran uses 1,000-year-old knotweed, which is more effective than she expected. Although she hasn't seen gathering chi boluses before, she can guess that they are twice as effective. This is the reason why Lin Luoran is still satisfied even though the success rate is not high. After all, this is the first time for her to make boluses. There is still a long way to go, right? However, only one kind of gathering chi bolus is too few. Lin Luoran sets her sights on another kind of bolus. It is circulation bolus of the upper rank of Grade 2. Different from gathering chi bolus, it focuses on healing. Of course, it can't be used to cure Master Guo's old wounds. However, for cultivators who haven't reached the level of laying foundation, it may be able to save their lives. There are not many people who can afford to use gathering chi bolus for a long time. Circulation bolus should be popular. However, there is a medicine in circulation bolus. It is not a spirit herb or an ordinary Chinese herbal medicine. It is toad cake, and Lin Luoran needs to collect it herself. Bitter toad is recorded in the formula. Lin Luoran checks and finds out that it is toad cake. Bitter toad is another name for toad. It was summer, and the Qingqing mountain range should have no lack of frogs like toads, right? In the evening, Lin Luoran secretly carries a small basket and a glass bottle. She changes into long clothes and trousers. Mr. Lin is waiting for her at the gate of the villa, dressed in the same way. I knew you were going there secretly. But don't you like your old father? Lin Luoran blushes. No matter how young her father is, Lin Luoran always remembers how he and her mother worked so hard to pay for her education. At that time, she was incompetent. Now, she naturally hopes that her parents can live a leisurely life. However, looking at Mr. Lin's blaming eyes, Lin Luoran can't help but reflect on whether she has gone too far. Mr. Lin used to collect herbs for a living, so he is familiar with toad cake. Why don't I go with my father? Even though it will be slower, Mr. Lin will have a sense of achievement of being useful. Isn't it better? Luoran and Lin Luoran father and daughter go into the back lawn mountain. The moonlight is good tonight. Lin Luoran can see clearly on the mountain path. However, Mr. Lin takes a chopper and a flashlight with him. Watching Mr. Lin cutting the weeds and branches to clear the way, Lin Luoran seems to forget that she is now a powerful cultivator and a child who needs his protection. Lin Luoran used to go up the mountain with her father like this during the summer vacation. Therefore, Lin Luoran doesn't use spells or show off her skills. She just follows Mr. Lin and becomes the little girl who needs her father's protection again. Girl, look! Mr. Lin suddenly stops and points to a pine tree. Under the light of the flashlight, Lin Luoran sees some umbrella-shaped mushrooms on the ground covered with pine needles. The mushrooms are brown with a little bit of red, and they are half open. It's a pine umbrella. Even Lin Luoran can't help but exclaim. Pine umbrella is a kind of wild mushroom that grows in the pine forest. It is especially delicious. Li's village is against the mountain, so Lin Luoran knows many wild mushrooms. However, she has only picked this kind of pine umbrella 2 or 3 times since she can remember. Because of its rarity, it is even more delicious. Lin Luoran has a deep impression of it. After she went to college, she even did some research and learned that the scientific name of this mushroom is blood rivet mushroom. It is one of the specialties of Changbai Mountain. No wonder it is rarely seen in Chuan. Dad, you have a good eye. Lin Luoran is happily picking mushrooms while flattering Mr. Lin. Although Mr. Lin doesn't shake his head, he is obviously proud of himself. There is only a small pile of mushrooms in the basket, which just fills the bottom. Lin Luoran is unwilling to give up, so she searches the pine forest again. She doesn't find any pine umbrella, but she finds some horse's ears similar to black fungus. Anyway, it is edible, so she loots all of them. Looking at his daughter, Mr. Lin shakes his head helplessly. Lin Luoran has liked to follow him to the mountains since she was a little girl. He always feels that his daughter, who doesn't like to talk usually, finds everything interesting and enjoys herself in the mountains. She is really talented in finding food and herbs. Is finding food a talent? Mr. Lin hesitates for a while and adds this advantage to his daughter. They walk and stop like this until midnight. Finally, they find a pond. Hearing the continuous croaking of frogs, Lin Luoran and Mr. Lin both laugh. This is the place. There are some skills to catch toads. Jumping into the pond is not a good idea. Frogs and toads usually eat at night. They usually hide in the water grass on the shore to catch insects. At this time, they just need to walk along the pond and shine the flashlight at the place where they hear frogs. Most of the frogs will suddenly become stupid and lie still in the grass. Lin Luoran can catch them quickly and throw them into the bag. Lin Luoran can't tell the difference between the croaking of frogs and toads since she was a little girl. However, Mr. Lin is an expert. Obviously, the place where the flashlight shines, there is probably a toad lying on the ground. Mr. Lin is responsible for catching the toads and Lin Luoran is responsible for collecting the toad fluid. As for the toad paste, that is the Chinese medicine processed by the toad fluid. Lin Luoran has done this many times since she was a little girl. However, compared with her childhood, she is now a cultivator in the level of laying foundation, isn't she? Finally, she doesn't need to catch the sticky and ugly toads by herself. With a spell of water, the basket of toads is soon cleaned. She puts her thumb on the neck of a toad and grabs its body with other fingers. Then she picks up the gland behind its ear with a copper tweezer. Soon the white fluid will overflow. Lin Luoran takes a glass bottle prepared in advance to catch the white fluid. She doesn't have to kill the toad to get the fluid. Lin Luoran puts all the toad fluid in the basket on her back and prepares to release them at last. In this way, Lin Luoran and Mr. Lin catch toads and take out the liquid. In less than an hour, Mr. Lin catches hundreds of toads to fill the glass bottle, which looks like a lot of toad liquid. Dad, that's enough. Almost all the toads in the nearby pond have been caught. Seeing Mr. Lin walking further and further in the night, Lin Luoran hurriedly asks him to come back. Mr. Lin shines the flashlight and Lin Luoran waves her hands. That's enough. Let's go back. Mr. Lin comes back. Lin Luoran notices that his pants are almost wet and says, I should have caught them. Why did you go into the water? Mr. Lin waves his hand. That's nothing. Now your dad is very good at fighting. Catching 2 toads is nothing. Lin Luoran chuckles. She releases the toads that have taken the toad fluid. She stealthily dries Mr. Lin's pants before leaving. When they go back to Lin's villa, it's already dawn. Mrs. Lin has already gotten up. She opens the door and sees Lin Luoran and Lin Luoran standing at the door. Mrs. Lin rubs her eyes. Where have you been so early? Mr. Lin raises his right hand and waves it in front of Mrs. Lin's eyes. He catches 2 fat hares on his way back. Who doesn't love wild game? Mrs. Lin frowns. Well, you went into the mountains secretly, didn't you? Mr. Lin scratches his head. Lin Luoran sneaks into the house, leaving the nagging Mrs. Lin to Mr. Lin. After so many years, Mrs. Lin and Lin Luoran naturally have their own way of getting along with each other. As their daughter, why should she be the third wheel? The Lin family has delicious rabbit meat and wild mushrooms for lunch. Wang Miao Yi and her husband also come for lunch. Lin Luoran is a cultivator, so she can quickly extract the toad paste from the toad fluid. By the next night, she had already prepared the herbs needed to refine the small reversion pill. Mrs. Lin feeds Lin Luoran well before she allows her to enter the basement, which is used as a temporary alchemy room. This process took another 2 days and 2 nights. Chapter 168. Lin Luoran keeps making elixirs at home. She takes a rest after she runs out of Reiki, gets up, and starts making elixirs again. She has been doing this for a whole month. Mrs. Lin is worried about her daughter's boring life. She tries her best to nourish Lin Luoran's body. Mrs. Lin's love soup is waiting for her every time she goes out of the basement. Pheasants in the mountains and wild fish in the lake are also the victims. Goldie sometimes brings back the pheasants as snacks, but Mrs. Lin snatches them away from Goldie's mouth. Mr. Lin catches the pheasants every day when he is free. His way of cultivation is to hold a fishing rod, sit by the lake, and slow down his breath to feel the Reiki in the world. Lin Luoran doesn't object to her father's idea of combining cultivation with his hobby, who says that to absorb Reiki, one must meditate. Lin Luoran eats, sleeps, walks, and even makes elixirs according to the frequency of the breathing spell. She doesn't feel that the speed of absorbing Reiki is much slower than meditating. Cultivation still depended on whether or not one could calm their heart. Just like alchemy, one needed to be able to endure the loneliness. The sea was filled with all rivers, and the path to immortality was endless. The accumulation of every step was like the rivers in the sea. Wasn't it also composed of droplets of water? She can't control the sea, but she can control every step and every drop of water. For a whole month, Lin Luoran has devoted herself to making elixirs. Every time she goes out of the basement, she is so tired that she falls asleep immediately. She has no time to cultivate. However, when she gets the elixirs and checks her level of cultivation, she is delighted. Instead of regressing, she makes a little progress. As the saying goes, break and then build. Although she hasn't reached the state of break, she consumes her Reiki every time she makes elixirs. Then she replenishes her Reiki with the bead when she breathes and sleeps. Using Reiki in this way is actually a kind of cultivation, right? At the end of the month, Lin Luoran finally stops making elixirs and comes out. The whole family is looking at several jade boxes on the table. Baojia can't help but say, "That's all you've done in a month." Lin Luoran pinches her and holds back the urge to roll her eyes. This almost took her life. How is it lacking? Lin Luoran has turned on the furnace 18 times in the past month, including 14 times for gathering chi boluses. Lin Luoran has harvested 480 boluses in total. The lowest harvest is 29 boluses and the highest harvest is 38 boluses. The harvest rate is not stable. Lin Luoran may have to make more boluses. Lin Luoran has practiced circulation bolus 4 times and collected 78 boluses in total. Last night, she collected 28 boluses in one furnace, which made her very happy. For more than 500 boluses, even toads are rarely seen in the place far away from the Lin family, let alone Lin Luoran's medicinal materials. She kept some medicinal herbs for each of them, ready to wait for them to mature, and replanted the rest. Lin Luoran has used up a lot of medicinal materials to make more than 500 elixirs of various kinds, especially those that she didn't have a lot of in the past. It seemed like it would be difficult for her to refine pills on a large scale in a short period of time. Such a large number of gathering chi boluses should not be underestimated. Except for Lin Luoran, who is rich in spirit herbs, even the school of alchemy can't refine elixirs at such a speed. For example, it takes a month for gathering chi boluses to run out. Lin Luoran doesn't plan to give more to her father and Baojia. For one thing, it would be a waste. For another, as mentioned before, it is not appropriate to increase the level of cultivation by taking elixirs during the time of laying the foundation. Therefore, Lin Luoran keeps 100 gathering chi boluses for her family. Even if it is for Mr. Lin and Baojia, it will last for about 4 years. She keeps the other 100 gathering chi boluses for herself. She only plans to sell 280 gathering chi boluses. It is not good to betray her enemies. As for circulation boluses, well, she will keep half of them for her family and sell the rest one by one. Lin Luoran, who has the potential of being a profiteer, opens the BBS and changes the word pre-sale to sale. Cultivators who have already prepared the jade can finally breathe a sigh of relief and start to rush to our city. The reason why they can't use online trading this time is that Master Lin said that they can only decide how many boluses to exchange for the jade according to the quality of the jade. As for the schools, Shi Heng, who has a good apprentice with Lin Luoran, is very happy. However, sending his apprentice to Lin Luoran is too much of a flatterer. Therefore, Shi Heng decides to send his apprentice to Lin Luoran. After all, Li Shi's name is more or less good. The master of the Wen family is also smiling. Even Qin Yun of the special department is thinking about getting some boluses as a reward for the task and the welfare of the department. Anyway, the jade has already been prepared. They must buy as many as they can. Everyone seems to have a well-thought-out plan. Lin Luoran, who has made up her mind to limit the amount of jade, smiles like a little fox in front of the computer. Even Lin Luodong, who passes by the study, trembles. Why is his sister smiling so much today? Her eyes are curved, which makes him feel that all his money will be taken away. The guards of Qingqing Villa had a very pleasant and puzzling day today. He knows that the residents of the villa are either rich or powerful. However, why are all the rich good-looking nowadays? The world is so unfair. Rich young men who drive luxury cars say that they want to visit Villa number 18 as soon as they get out of the car. Today, there are more than a dozen groups of people. What makes the guard jealous and happy is that many people give him tips. Nowadays, even the guards of residential areas can get tips. The gap between the rich and the poor has indeed widened. However, so many good-looking people are going to Villa number 18. Is it possible that there is a film and television mogul living in the mysterious Villa number 18 and these people are all stars going there for an interview? Of course, these cultivators don't know that they are regarded as actors by a guard. Speaking of Lin Luoran's plan of exchanging elixirs for jade, Zheng Tian, whose ID is the bitter congenital realm on the BBS, comes from a business family. He has so much money that he doesn't know how to spend it. It is not easy for him to buy jade. Today, he drives an off-road vehicle with a trunk full of jade. Though the jade is not the best, he believes that he can win by quantity. Zheng Tian is usually a bit sloppy, but the person he is going to visit is Master Lin. He doesn't dare to be careless. Besides the jade, he also prepares many gifts. He parks the car half a mile away from Villa number 18 at the end of the road and climbs up with 2 big boxes in his arms. When he arrives at the door, he doesn't know how to enter. A middle-aged man fishing by the lake points inside. Zheng Tian cleverly takes out a cigarette and lights it for the middle-aged man who is wearing ordinary clothes. Zheng Tian is a little smart. What's wrong with fishing? So what if he is wearing ordinary clothes? How can he fish in front of the gate of Lin's house without some skills? After smoking a cigarette, the middle-aged man asks curiously, "Why don't you go in? Aren't you here to exchange elixirs?" Hearing this, Zheng Tian scratches his head in embarrassment. "Brother, I don't dare." Mr. Lin is almost choked by the cigarette. He is much older than the boy in front of him. How dare he call him brother? Although Mr. Lin thinks so, he is actually complimenting Mr. Lin's young age in a disguised way. Mr. Lin is quite satisfied. He feels that all the cultivators who came before him are not as good as the boy in front of him. He stops fishing, puts down the fishing pole, and leads Zheng Tian into the house. Zheng Tian follows Mr. Lin happily, as if it is the first time for Sister Lin to enter Rongwa's house. He doesn't dare to look at her for long. When they arrive at the flower hall, Zheng Tian doesn't take the opportunity to look at her but a glass of wine instead of tea. Master Lin's way of treating guests is a bit strange. She actually serves him wine. Let me see what's different about this wine. Picking up the bamboo cup, Zheng Tian sees that the middle-aged man who is fishing is looking at him. As a man, he can't be weak, so he drinks the wine. When the wine enters his stomach, Zheng Tian's expression is like a palette, first red, then purple, then white, and then red. It's not that he can't stand it, but the feeling of peaceful Reiki running in his body is really wonderful. After a quarter of an hour, Zheng Tian opens his eyes and takes a deep breath. Master Lin is really generous to use spirit wine to entertain guests. Seeing that Zheng Tian opens his eyes, Mr. Lin smiles and says, "How is it?" Zheng Tian almost bursts into tears. Master, this glass of wine can help me cultivate for many days. What do you think? Mr. Lin waves his hand. I'm talking about the taste of the wine. Is it good? Good? Xing Tian is a little dizzy. It turns out that spirit wine is about taste. He gulps it down like Zhu Beiji eating ginseng fruit. He only remembers the feeling of the surging Reiki, but how can he remember the taste? Lin Luoran walks out of the house with a smile. Dad, don't tease him. It is Baojia's idea to use spirit wine to entertain guests. It is not because she is generous, but because she just dug it out today. Baojia says she wants to see if there are any adverse reactions such as allergies after drinking it. Therefore, all the people who come to exchange boluses today become lab rats. Judging from the expressions of the people in front of them, they are obviously happy lab rats. Xing Tian salutes to Lin Luoran respectfully and introduces himself. He checks the jade he brings. The whole box of jade is not the best, so Lin Luoran exchanges 6 gathering chi boluses and 1 circulation bolus. Looking at Xing Tian's happy face, Lin Luoran, who has the potential of being a profiteer, wonders if she has exchanged too much. These people are so easily satisfied. With your personal ability, you can only get 1 bolus every 2 months. Don't be greedy. Xing Tian nods and walks out of the gate of Lin's house dizzily. He touches the jade box in his pocket and secretly clenches his fists. If I practice hard, I may be able to break through and get rid of the bitter inborn realm. Ah, I am so lucky. The one who gives away the smoke is Master Lin's father. Ha! Lin Luoran has the same feeling as Xing Tian. She has received so many jade that her hands are tired. The threshold of Lin's house is almost broken by people who come to exchange boluses. The jade Lin Luoran received is piled up like a hill in the basement. Even with her self-control, she still lets the bead absorb the jade and sighs that profiteers make money. Chapter 169. Lin Luoran leaves some of the converted jades at home and puts most of them in the space. After all, they are not waste in the eyes of cultivators anymore. They are as valuable as spirit stones. It's better to be careful. Money moves people's hearts. It's always good to keep a low profile. Luo Dong has been very excited these days because Lin Luoran has said that she will take him to the capital. In fact, it doesn't matter where they are going. Though he is curious about the capital, he misses Lin Luoran more than anything else. Just like a bird that just opens its eyes, it always recognizes the first person it sees as its mother. Luo Dong has this feeling about Lin Luoran. Therefore, Luo Dong is looking forward to the trip to the capital, which Lin Luoran has specially prepared for him. Days go by in Luo Dong's expectation. Finally, it's time for departure. Mrs. Lin is reluctant to part with her daughter. She feels sad that Lin Luoran has to go out again after being missing for 3 years. Mr. Lin counsels her in private. Lin Luoran can't make progress by staying with her parents. Even if Lin Luoran doesn't cultivate and becomes an ordinary white-collar worker, she can't spend as much time as she does now. After Mrs. Lin thinks it through, she feels relieved and sees Lin Luoran and Luo Dong out. Goldie is getting more and more powerful. Lin Luoran leaves it to guard the house, which is another security. Lin Luoran and Luo Dong book tickets for the flight on the same day. Baojia drives them to the airport. Commander Qin has retired and lives in the military compound all year round. Baojia is too lazy to go out. She usually takes jewelry design jobs and spends most of her time cultivating. The carefree Baojia is now very hardworking. Lin Luoran can't tell if it's a good thing or not. Baojia is still upset that Zhou Yaowei attacked the Qin and Lin families because of Lin Luoran. Baojia needs time to figure it out. Putting the issue aside, there is nothing wrong with working hard on cultivation, right? After all, cultivators in the level of laying foundation have a lifespan of 200 years. They can spend more time doing what they like. Who can say that their hard work doesn't pay off? She boards the plane smoothly. The only thing that makes her feel strange is why people are looking at her all the way. Now that her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, the sharpness that she had before, which was like an unsheathed sword, was gone. She was now very much in tune with her surroundings. Although her appearance was still outstanding, if one did not deliberately look at her, it would be very easy to be deceived by her temperament in the crowd. Lin Luoran still doesn't know that the photos of her flying on the hawk have spread like a virus. Netizens, whether they pay attention to this matter or not, will inevitably glance at the photos. Because it is only a side view of Lin Luoran, people only think that she looks familiar. Besides, she is wearing casual pants, so they dare not recognize her. He took out a pair of sunglasses and put them on. Sure enough, it was much more convenient for him to carry out the next step. Lin Luoran has always insisted that Luodong should open his heart and blend into the crowd. She doesn't book a first-class seat, but an ordinary economy class. Seeing how nervous Luodong is, Lin Luoran asks in a low voice, "Are you scared? Didn't you ride on Goldie's back before?" Lin Luodong's little face turns pale. "That's not the same. Goldie is so safe that it won't have tinnitus when it takes off." Hearing Lin Luoran's question, Goldie refuses to admit defeat. He sticks out his chest and forces himself to look out of the window. The nervousness when encountering the airflow gradually disappears. In this world, there are two kinds of beauty that can move people's hearts the most. No matter what kind of aesthetic, it is irresistible. One is the blue sea, the kind of broad-minded beauty with the ups and downs of the waves, the kind of beauty that is magnificent. The other was the ethereal beauty of the ethereal emptiness above the blue sky that was like a blue sea, where the clouds rolled and unfolded. Looking at the various shapes of the white clouds, even Lin Luoran can't help thinking of those beautiful legends, let alone a child like Luodong. Is there really a towering palace in the depths of the floating white clouds? Seeing that Luodong's eyes are blurred and sleepy, Lin Luoran can't help but laugh. The passenger next to her who has been peeking at the siblings is so amazed that his eyes almost pop out. The little boy is wearing a British-style summer suit and his eyes are shy. In the eyes of some passengers, this is the introversion of a noble. As for the woman sitting next to him, she seems to be in her early 20s, but she looks calm and comfortable. Both of them are very outstanding in appearance and temperament. Are they brother and sister? If you ask Luodong this question, he will nod happily. Where would he be now without Lin Luoran by his side? Lin Luodong often thinks about this question. The various strange possibilities make him cherish his current life more and more every time. Because of the connection between his sister and him, his life will be as wonderful and beautiful as the blue sky. Lin Luodong firmly believes that. The plane slowly lands at the capital airport. The siblings are in a good mood. Some people are looking forward to their arrival, but some people may not be able to sleep at night. The capital is blue and the blue sky. Because of the frequent sandstorms in the spring and autumn, the blue sky is flawless when the sky is clear. It is so rare that it is fascinating. People with a clear conscience can see the bright world under the blue sky. People with a guilty conscience can feel the chilly wind even if they hide in a mansion in broad daylight. For example, Mrs. Zhou. Recently, Mrs. Zhou has experienced the pain of losing her son. She has been struggling in fear and sleepless for more than a month. Mrs. Zhou is getting old and haggard. Beauty salon? Mrs. Zhou rarely goes out now. When she goes out, she has a large group of bodyguards with her. Under such circumstances, she is not in the mood to go to the beauty salon and chat with a group of noble ladies. The henchman of the Zhou family comes back with the determination to die. He has no choice. The henchman of the Zhou family is a trusted henchman who even orders his young master to kill people. His family is not under the control of the Zhou family. How can such a family trust an unknown henchman? Being a bad guy doesn't mean that he is heartless. He has a big family to support. Even if he dies after coming back to the Zhou family, a generous amount of alimony will be enough for his family. Therefore, the henchman chooses to come back. To his surprise, Zhou Guojun, the head of the Zhou family, is disappointed when he hears the news. However, he doesn't yell at the henchman. On the contrary, Mrs. Zhou, who usually cares about her image, is crying her eyes out. She cries about Mr. Zhou's poor life and viciously yells that she will tear him into pieces. The messenger is dragged away and he can't choose how to die. However, he has a feeling that it is better for him to die easily than for the Zhou family. Zhou Guojun, Wei is your only son. Do you have the heart to see him die? Mrs. Zhou's eyes are dark. She grabs Zhou Guojun's sleeves and says vaguely. Zhou Guojun slaps Mrs. Zhou in the face. Pa. Mrs. Zhou's face is swollen. Mrs. Zhou covers her face and can't believe it. Zhou Guojun supports his shaky body and turns around to leave. After all, he is a senior minister. The Zhou family has many friends. He doesn't believe that the state will let him die. What cultivator? Can a person deal with the state? Zhou Guojun is not an idiot. He chooses to bear with it when he has to avenge his only son. He has to cast a net and make sure that those who come to trouble him will die. No matter how useless Zhou Yawei is, he is the only son of the Zhou family and the only child of Zhou Guojun. Zhou Guojun asks the state to give him an explanation. He reports that his son was murdered. Since this case involves a cultivator, Chen Yun is the first one to receive the file. Minister Chen turns the file over and blushes. They tried to recruit Zhou Yawei into the special department for the sake of the evil cultivator. However, Zhou Yawei is seeking his own death. He messed with Lin Luoran, who has been in the limelight in recent years. Chen Yun has automatically filtered his memory. He forgets that Zhou Yawei was not the only one who wanted to hurt the Lin family that night. Actually, Zhou Yawei and his family were up to no good. The more this was the case, the more he should express his goodwill and improve their relationship. Just like that, Chen Yun suppressed the case. What makes the Zhou family angry is the setbacks in other places. When the Zhou family is approaching Commander Qin step by step, many people in the army are unhappy with them and many political enemies are dissatisfied with the Zhou family's power. At this time, you want us to send troops to protect you? In your dreams. You are using public power for private purposes. The photos on the internet provide netizens with speculation and gossip. For the dignitaries, it is a good opportunity to find out the truth. With the investigation, a door opens in front of them. It turns out that there is a cultivator who can fly in the sky and hide in the ground behind their arrogant world. Some dignitaries on a certain level gloat when they know that the Zhou family has provoked such a cultivator who can take people's lives at any time. Those who are enemies of the Zhou family almost celebrate. Those who are on good terms with the Zhou family stay away from the Zhou family. The cruel reality and indifferent people finally make Zhou Guojun sleepless at night. Looking at Mrs. Zhou, who only knows how to cry every day, Zhou Guojun feels regretful. Mrs. Zhou is Zhou Guojun's second wife. His first wife couldn't give birth to a son, so Zhou Guojun divorced her regardless of the consequences. Then he married Mrs. Zhou, who was his mistress at the time. Finally, Mrs. Zhou got what she wanted and gave birth to a son. However, now it seems that it is a pity that Mrs. Zhou doesn't have a son. What if she has a son and a mother who can't even show up in public? Wait, there is also Commander Qin. According to his nostalgic character, there may be a chance. Chapter 170. Today, I just found out that the author can get points by repeatedly posting comments on the same account. Well, Pa didn't say anything about it. You know what I mean. In addition, this week's essence has been distributed. Let's make the comments section more active so that there will be 100 or even more essence next week. Lin Luoran takes Luodong to the Fragrant Hill Villa. In the cottage, when Lin Luoran puts a bottle of 10 circulation boluses on the table, Master Guo's neck turns red. What are you doing? This old man isn't after your pills. Lin Luoran smiles and says yes, but she refuses to take back the circulation boluses. Since she sold the boluses and said that she would not make boluses in a short period of time, the price of such a life-saving circulation bolus has skyrocketed. Seeing this, some people who sell the boluses for a profit laugh at Lin Luoran. Only Lin Luoran knows that she is actually making a profit. Of course, she can take her time and infiltrate into the Burmese power through her own efforts. She can be a shareholder of the mine or the owner of the behind-the-scenes. She will never be short of jade. However, in the beginning, Lin Luoran can't get out of this business. First of all, it will delay her cultivation. Second, if she doesn't sell boluses, how can she let all the forces in the world of cultivation know that she can make boluses? She is probably the only cultivator in the level of laying foundation who can make boluses. If she doesn't have the personal ability of the level of laying foundation, everyone can catch her and raise her. Unfortunately, Lin Luoran is not only in the level of laying foundation, but she also has a limit on the number of boluses she can buy. So what if they catch her? When the time comes, they will get more boluses than if they don't catch her. This is Lin Luoran's idea. She wants to minimize the possibility of these dirty things happening so that she and her family can focus on their cultivation. She is willing to give Master Gua the boluses for the sake of delaying him in the past 3 years. Master Mu tries to smooth things over. Master Gua, just take it. It's a gift from her. Master Gua accepts the elixir. Circulation elixir, an upper grade 2 elixir, can cure the injuries of cultivators in the level of laying foundation. Even if his old injuries are too serious, these elixirs can help him suppress them for a while. As the saying goes, even ants want to live. Who doesn't want to live as long as there is a glimmer of hope? Master Mu and Master Mu both like Luodong, who is shy but polite. Master Mu's eyes light up when he sees Luodong, who only has the Taoist root of the earth. If it weren't for Luodong's master, Master Mu would have asked to take Luodong as his apprentice. He asks why Lin Luoran doesn't ask him to cultivate. Lin Luoran says that he can choose by himself when he is 18 years old. Both of them look at Lin Luoran in surprise, which makes Lin Luoran think that there is a flower on her face. Do you know how many people are helpless about being able to identify their Taoist roots at 8 years old? They wish they could start cultivating when they were still in their mother's womb. You're the only one who doesn't care about these few years. It might seem like a waste, but it's not necessarily a waste. You are much more knowledgeable than us. Lin Luoran is surprised. She just heard about the identification of the Taoist root at the age of 8 from Master Mu. It is not a matter of vision. The only difference between Lin Luoran and others is that she believes in democracy and open-mindedness when it comes to children's education. Lin Luoran hopes that she can just be a guide and children should make their own choices in life. The three of them are all in the level of laying foundation. Master Mu and Lin Luoran have been talking about Taoism for a long time. They have endless topics. It has been less than 4 years, but Lin Luoran is not an ignorant person. She has studied the cultivation encyclopedia before bearing essence from White Fairy for a long time. When she talks with Grandpa Mu and Grandpa Mu again, she not only listens but also has her own opinions. What she says makes Grandpa Mu think about it seriously. The three of them drink wine and talk about Taoism. This is the authentic monkey wine that Lin Luoran brought. Though the wine she made is effective, it lacks the mellow flavor of monkey wine. This is the first time Lin Luoran feels that something is wrong since she got the space. For living plants, it can be ripe overnight. However, for dead things or vegetables or fruits, it is like a refrigerator. Time passes quickly, but the age of the wine doesn't change at all. The monkey wine is made from fruits, so it is not intoxicating. The unique fragrance attracts little squirrels to jump on the branches, but they dare not to come down. Master Mu and Luoran do not avoid Luodong when they talk. Luodong is the boy who pours the wine and listens to them. It turns out that one needs to have the Taoist root in order to learn magic arts of nature. He has the nature of earth. Luodong doesn't know how precious a single nature of Taoist root is. However, he is happy that he has it. It turns out that when one cultivates to the level of his sister, the level of laying foundation, one can not only use spells, but also spells. The more spells one knows, the more spells one knows, the more spells one can control things that are not in the 5 elements. Lin Luodong is confused and he can only keep it in mind. Wood makes a forest, forest gives birth to wind, or fire meets water and there is wind. All in all, he understands one thing. Lin Luoran is very powerful now. Even if she doesn't ride on Goldie, she can still cast the wind-riding spell to fly in the air. It is getting late. The little squirrels lose their patience. Since they can't get any wine, they go back to their nest and eat pine nuts to vent their anger. Finally, Luodong falls asleep. Master Mu, can you take care of Luodong for me? Seeing that Luodong is asleep, Lin Luoran lowers her voice. Master Mu says with puffed eyes, I am not a nanny, a bottle of monkey wine. Lin Luoran throws out her trump card. 3 bottles. Master Mu sits up straight and looks like a sage. 2 bottles. Forget it if you can't. Okay, deal. Both of them are satisfied with the result. Lin Luoran is going to give the wine to Master Mu anyway. It is nice to have 1 less bottle. Master Mu is satisfied. He only wants 2 bottles, and Linny thinks that she has won the bargain. The older, the wiser. Seeing that Lin Luoran is going out in the dark, Master Mu knows what to do. However, Master Gua says, "Where are you going after putting the kid to sleep?" Lin Luoran smiles mysteriously. "A bloody place is not suitable for kids. Where do you think I should go?" Master Gua nods without saying a word. He is like the old chivalrous men. Cultivation is nothing. If he can't do whatever he wants, eat meat and drink wine, he doesn't want to be an immortal. How long will it take to kill these little bastards? The 2 old men are waiting for you to come back and drink. Come on, let's drink. Master Gua is quite generous. He picks up the glass and drinks up. Lin Luoran also drinks up. She feels heartbroken. If she had known this would happen, she would have given them the wine she made herself. She doesn't know when she will get the monkey wine again. They treat the Zhou family as a flea and they don't take it seriously at all. In the Zhou family, Zhou Guojun puts down the phone in his hand. His knuckles turn white because he squeezes too hard. What did he say? Mrs. Zhou asks with red eyes. Zhou Guojun shakes his head. He said that since Wei hit Qin Baojia with his car, his relationship with me has been written off. Mrs. Zhou is desperate at first, and then she gets angry. Written off. My father-in-law carried him out of a pile of dead people. How could he write off that easily? People in the Qin family are all as heartless as that bitch Qin Baojia. Wei liked her so much. If he had agreed, she would have been the daughter-in-law of the Zhou family and my wire would not have died. That's enough. Zhou Guojun interrupts Mrs. Zhou. At the same time, the blue veins on his neck stand out because he squeezes too hard. How can you say that? If you didn't ask Qin Baojia for help every few days, he wouldn't have avoided you like a snake and opposed his granddaughter's marriage. After all, it is you, an ignorant woman, who killed Wei. It is you, an ignorant woman, who killed Wei. Zhou Guojun's words hit the crying Mrs. Zhou like thunder. Her lips turn pale and her fingers tremble. She refuses to admit that she has spoiled her son. Now, it seems that there is no way out. By the way, how is it going with Wei's master? Although Zhou Guojun believes that the mysterious master should take a lot of responsibility for his son's death, Zhou Guojun has no choice but to rely on Zhou Yaowei's master to get through this difficult time. Zhou Guojun frowns and looks at Mrs. Zhou, who used to be so powerful. She shakes her head with her pale face. Zhou Guojun's hand holding the cigarette trembles. He can't believe that the Zhou family has come to this. Are these cultivators really so powerful? Chapter 171. Zhou Guojun is the only direct descendant of the Zhou family. There are several other people in important positions, but they are distant relatives. They just use the name of the Zhou family to get promoted. Even if the Zhou family is willing to accept them, others may not be happy. Lin Luoran reads the information about the Zhou family in her mind and finds it funny. Chen Yun sent this information to her after hearing that she came to the capital. Apparently, he is trying to be friendly. Chen Yun's way of doing things is very bureaucratic. No wonder he hasn't laid foundation yet. Lin Luoran burns the information in her hand into ashes. She stays in the air and looks at the Zhou couple in the study. Weeds will grow again if the roots are not removed. It's better if they don't have close relatives. Revenge is one thing, but Lin Luoran doesn't want to kill innocent people. God is watching what people do. Lin Luoran can vent her anger by killing indiscriminately. However, if she does that, she will be no different from Zhou Yaowei, who bullies the weak, and Mrs. Zhou, who doesn't care about people's lives. Killing to stop killing may be the way to do things, but it is not Lin Luoran's style. The study of the Zhou family is decorated with crystal chandeliers. It is not luxurious, but the taste is not bad. This is not a business house, but a house of the upper class of the state of Huaxia. Lin Luoran's eyes are cold. The study is on the second floor. There are bodyguards with guns walking around on the balcony. There are dozens of bodyguards in the Zhou family's yard. Their waists are bulging. Judging by the shape, they are definitely not batons. They must be guns. With such a formation, even a fly would find it difficult to fly in. If the Zhou family's enemies are ordinary people, Lin Luoran sneers. She has good hearing. She stays on the roof and hides in the dark. The bodyguards don't notice her at all. Lin Luoran also hears the conversation of the Zhou couple. No wonder Mrs. Zhou was so arrogant last time in the hospital. It turns out that Commander Qin and the old man of the Zhou family were friends. However, Zhou Guojun was still sober in the end. No matter how close they were, their friendship would fade away after meeting Baojia after she asked for it countless times. However, Zhou Guojun did have some ability. He actually managed to find a helper who could deal with ordinary people. There are no stars tonight. Countless lights are shining in the noisy capital. In the Zhou family's house in the suburbs, it is so quiet that only Mrs. Zhou's sobbing can be heard. It's too late to cry now. Lin Luoran gently lands on the balcony of the second floor. Mrs. Zhou, who is sobbing, suddenly raises her head. The bodyguards are not to be trifled with. They pull out their guns quickly and orderly. However, as a cultivator, Lin Luoran's reaction is faster. The bullets didn't even have time to be fired. The bodyguards felt their bodies being pulled by an invisible force and fell off the balcony. Bang! 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 At this moment, the bodyguards downstairs also react. Bullets are flying towards the balcony on the second floor. They are determined to turn Lin Luoran into a sieve. Lin Luoran raises her eyebrows as the bullet hits the glass silently. Bulletproof glass? It seems that the Zhou family has not given up. They are really going to fight with her. Lin Luoran is in the level of laying foundation, but she is still a flesh and blood cultivator. Bullets are flying towards her from a few steps away. Lin Luoran still cares a little, but only a little. While dodging the bullets, golden light gathers on her fingertips. It is the same bee-tail spell that Lin Luoran used to carve a jade pendant for Tess in the North Pole. Now that Lin Luoran is in the level of laying foundation, the bee-tail spell is no longer a simple bee sting. As soon as she finished forming a seal, many golden bee stingers whizzed out from her hands. They collided with the bullets and actually penetrated the bullets, nailing these shockingly fast lethal weapons back to the ground. Mrs. Zhou nervously grabs Zhou Guojun's hand. Zhou Guojun gives her a reassuring look. The Zhou family is well prepared. If Zhou Guojun had the eyesight to clearly see the appearance of the bullet on the ground, perhaps his confidence would not be so strong. The bullets don't just fall to the ground. The bee stingers cast by the spell of gold go through the heads of the bullets and the tails of the bullets. The bee stingers changed the trajectory of the bullets and nailed them back to the ground. What's more, the bee stingers are extremely sharp. However, it seems that all the stingers have a target. All the bodyguards with guns have their hands pierced through in an instant. The tendons of their hands are hurt and they are lying on the ground, wailing. Lin Luoran turns around and smiles at Mrs. Zhou. Mrs. Zhou is even more nervous. Mrs. Zhou, we meet again. Because of the bulletproof glass, the people in the room can't hear as well as Lin Luoran. They can only see Lin Luoran's lips moving. Mrs. Zhou can't hear what Lin Luoran is saying, but she can see the sarcasm in Lin Luoran's eyes. Mrs. Zhou is obviously scared, but she is also angry for no reason. Mrs. Zhou has hated Lin Luoran ever since they fought in the hospital and Mrs. Zhou ran away. Later, Zhou Yaoi's bones were broken and Mrs. Zhou found out that it was Lin Luoran who did it. Mrs. Zhou wants all of the Lin family to die with her. However, Zhou Yaoi's master said that the Lin family is under the protection of someone. They have to endure. They have been enduring for 3 years, but what they get in return is her son's body. Thinking of this, Mrs. Zhou stares at Lin Luoran through the window with hatred in her eyes. A golden light flashes on Lin Luoran's fingertip. She cuts on the bulletproof glass and a circle appears. The glass is not completely broken. What? Lin Luoran is a little surprised. She hears the sound of a machine turning above her head. A bell-like object falls from the roof and covers Lin Luoran in it. It must weigh more than 1,000 pounds. The aftershock even shakes the balcony on the second floor. If the Zhou family's house had not been built in such a way, the balcony would have collapsed under the heavy weight. Seeing that Lin Luoran is covered in the bell, Mrs. Zhou is overjoyed. Zhou Guojun is more steady. Crack, crack. The sound of a mechanism is heard. As expected, there is a familiar secret door in the Zhou family study. The door is moved aside and a middle-aged man in a Taoist robe appears. Master, your plan is perfect. Now that the devil is trapped, shall we move on to the next step? Zhou Guojun bows his hand. He seems to respect this Taoist very much, who says that the Zhou family must rely on others. Old Zhou's personal connections are more reliable. Just like this otherworldly master, whom Zhou Guojun had invited after promising countless benefits, didn't he come up with a perfect plan and catch a turtle in a jar? Zhou Guojun is proud of himself. Mrs. Zhou has been depressed for so many days. She doesn't even notice the master she invited. Her hands are trembling. God knows. If he knew that it is a master in the level of laying foundation who is causing trouble for the Zhou family, he would never step out of the cultivation place no matter how good Zhou Guojun's promise is. What should he do now? The middle-aged Taoist is thinking about it. He is just thinking that the strengthened bell and glass can withstand the attack of a cultivator in the level of laying foundation. Suddenly, the bell shakes. Hiss, the bell shakes. It is not the sound of metal and stone colliding. It sounds like someone is cutting a piece of paper with a sharp knife. That's right, this copper bell that had been reinforced was like a thin piece of craft paper. Now, someone was holding a sharp knife and slashing it downwards. With a flash of white light, the bell is broken into halves and falls to the side. Under the astonishment of the Zhou couple, Lin Luoran is unscathed. She is holding a sword in her right hand and standing in the ruins of the bell. Through the bulletproof glass, she is staring at the master they invited. The middle-aged Taoist widens his eyes. For the first time, he sees the face of the cultivator in the level of laying foundation. A girl in her 20s? He has only cultivated in the mountains for more than 10 years. How come the world of cultivation has changed so fast? When did such a young cultivator in the level of laying foundation appear? A female cultivator. The middle-aged Taoist's fingers are stiff. Everyone knows that female cultivators are mean and unreasonable. What should he do? The middle-aged Taoist has a bitter face. He can't see the pleading eyes of the Zhou couple. He doesn't even know how to get out of here. Lin Luoran snorts and slashes at the bulletproof glass with the bright sword. The glass, strengthened by some secret spell, is totally defenseless against a grade 5 magic weapon. The glass shatters on the ground. The middle-aged Taoist notices that the pieces of glass are covered with frost. He shivers. The broken glass is like the psychological defense of the Zhou couple. As soon as Lin Luoran steps into the study, Mrs. Zhou has become a hysterical beast. She rushes at Lin and tries to beat her up. Of course, Mrs. Zhou is kicked away before she can even touch Lin Luoran's clothes. Zhou Guojun collapses. This time, he is not pretending. He really feels that there is no hope for him to escape. He doesn't care about the power and position anymore. The middle-aged Taoist bows and says, "Master." Lin Luoran says emotionlessly, "You are quite capable in some ways." The Taoist lowers his head even more. Lin Luoran is not flattering him. The middle-aged Taoist is only in the middle stage of training qi. Lin Luoran didn't notice his breath at all. He is indeed good at hiding his breath. Lin Luoran has been thinking many times about how to deal with Zhou Yaowei's parents in order to establish her prestige and vent her hatred. However, looking at Zhou Guojun, who has aged 10 years in an instant, and Mrs. Zhou, who used to be arrogant, lying at the foot of the table, Lin Luoran suddenly feels that revenge is boring. It is impossible for Lin Luoran to let them go and let the Zhou family, who have lost their only son and face, take revenge. However, Lin Luoran is not interested in torturing them. Therefore, while the middle-aged Taoist is trembling in fear, Lin Luoran throws a fireball at Zhou Guojun and Mrs. Zhou. Before they can cry out in pain, they die in the same way as their precious son. Hearing the screams of the Zhou couple, The middle-aged Taoist is sweating. After Lin Luoran deals with the main characters today, she turns to look at him. He can't help but feel scared. Who says that cultivators are not afraid of death? Only when a person has enjoyed extreme wealth will he be afraid of poverty. In the same way, only cultivators who pursue immortality are more afraid of death than ordinary people. At this moment, the middle-aged Taoist suddenly remembers what Lin Luoran said when she entered the room: "You are quite capable in some ways." Of course, the middle-aged Taoist knows that the reason why he can fool a cultivator in the level of laying foundation is because of one thing. "I didn't know that the Zhou family was against you. I believed his words and offended you. I am willing to offer my breath-holding spell to ask for your forgiveness." He is in fear, but Lin Luoran is even more shocked. Chapter 172. Seeing that Lin Luoran doesn't say anything, the middle-aged Taoist nervously hands her a tattered book. Lin Luoran grabs the book and turns it over. The book is indeed about a secret method called breath-holding spell. Although the Taoist's personal ability is low, Lin Luoran is not completely defenseless against him. She has heard many stories of people failing miserably. Therefore, it seems that she is reading the book, but in fact, her fingers are covered with a thin layer of wachan. Lin Luoran doesn't touch the book at all. "Master," the middle-aged Taoist says tentatively. Lin Luoran closes the book and asks, "What's the relationship between you and the Zhou family?" The middle-aged Taoist then tells Zhou Guojun about his friendship with Zhou Guojun. In fact, he doesn't have any relationship with Zhou Guojun. But for the sake of Zhou Guojun's face, and the Zhou family has promised him countless benefits, he comes out of the penance land to help Zhou Guojun deal with this little cultivator. Lin Luoran doesn't say anything. The middle-aged Taoist explains his purpose and cleverly makes the oath of the devil inside to show that he is telling the truth. Cultivators pursue the path of cultivation. As long as they make the oath of the devil inside, they will not be able to make any progress in their whole life. Otherwise, they will not have a good ending. This was on a completely different level from the oath that ordinary people casually swore to be struck by lightning. Modern people treated oaths as if they were drinking water or eating, and they did not attach any importance to it. In order to deceive people and win their trust, they even dared to say that their son would not have an asshole. However, once a cultivator swore to the oath of the heart's demon, they would really fulfill it. Lin Luoran finally gets rid of her suspicion. She waves her hand and tells the middle-aged Taoist to leave. The middle-aged Taoist walks out with his back stiff. Before he takes 2 steps, he hears Lin Luoran's voice behind him, "Stop." The middle-aged Taoist is stunned. Is he still going to die? He is thinking about whether he should just fight with this evil woman. Suddenly, he hears the wind behind him and something flies into his arms. Oh, is it a jade box? "Exchanging these elixirs for this lousy book of yours is still acceptable," Yi Zichen said coldly. Did he hear it wrong? Now, not only had a female cultivator in her early 20s reached the foundation establishment realm, but she was also so reasonable. The middle-aged Taoist doesn't have time to check what boluses these are. He thanks Lin Luoran respectfully and runs away. He jumps over the wall of the Zhou family. "Your qinggong is not bad." Seeing him running like a rabbit, Lin Luoran smiles and puts away the breath-holding spell, which is only a few pages long. Since she, a foundation-building cultivator, couldn't discover the existence of a middle-stage aura refining cultivator, this breath-restraining technique didn't seem to be a common item. It could be considered another harvest from this trip. Looking at the bodyguards lying on the ground, Lin Luoran smiles. "What? Do you still want to stay and be loyal to the Zhou family?" A bodyguard mustered up his courage and asked, "You won't kill us?" Lin Luoran asks casually, "Do you hate me?" The bodyguard quickly shook his head. "Will you call the police?" The bodyguard thought for a moment and shook his head firmly. Then, "Will you announce what happened tonight?" This time, it was the bodyguards who shook their heads. "Announce? Are you kidding me? What they saw tonight is probably a secret power. They may have to hide their names in the future, in case someone finds them. How can they announce what happened everywhere?" "Then you can go now." These 3 reasons are not only for the bodyguards but also for Lin Luoran herself. She won't attack unless she is attacked. Lin Luoran hopes that she can stick to this belief until the end. She won't become a bully and a murderer. The bodyguards help Lin Luoran out of the Zhou family's gate. The servants have already escaped in the chaos. Lin Luoran looks at the brightly lit Zhou's house in the dark night. She suddenly sighs with emotion. She thinks of old Master Zhou, whom she has never met. This may be the emptiness after revenge. She does admire him. Actually, she has only heard a few words about old Master Zhou. The first time she heard about him was when Mrs. Zhou mentioned him in the corridor of the hospital, which calmed Commander Qin down. At that time, Lin Luoran thought it was strange. Now she realizes that it must be because of the life-saving friendship of old Master Zhou. Then there was the fact that old Master Zhou was old friends with cultivators. Lin Luoran has to pay a price to hire this cultivator. However, without old Master Zhou's friendship, she can't even get in touch with this cultivator. Old Master Zhou's kindness to Commander Qin and his friendship with the cultivator are both his legacy to his descendants. However, his descendants are too disappointing. Mrs. Zhou's excessive demands lead to the estrangement between the Zhou family and the Qin family. Commander Qin refuses to marry into the Zhou family, which becomes the trigger for all kinds of things until now. The tea cools down when people are gone. What will old Master Zhou feel if he knows this in the afterlife? Lin Luoran looks back at the brightly lit Zhou's house. A fire jumps on her fingertip and falls down. The fire starts from the study on the second floor and instantly engulfs the entire Zhou family. Finally, some residents nearby call the fire alarm. Hearing that the sound of the fire engine is not far away, Lin Luoran makes sure that the fire has no chance to spread to other places. Lin Luoran casts the windriding spell and disappears into the night sky of the capital as she came. The Zhou family is finished. With the cooperation of all parties, a new round of reshuffling takes place in the capital. The direct descendants of the Zhou family have fallen, and no one knows whether they are dead or alive. Surprisingly, the leaders of the Zhou family don't show any special reaction. Those affiliated to the Zhou family ask for an investigation, but soon their political enemies seize the opportunity and take them down. There are only so many seats in the capital. The fewer people who occupy the seats, the more people from other factions can fill the seats. Not only that, after knowing the reason of the fall of the Zhou family, these unscrupulous nobles begin to restrain their descendants. They act cautiously and keep a low profile. In this world of singing and dancing, the power that you think is infallible is not a barrier that can protect you from doing evil. Some people don't care about these things. In front of the supernatural power, everything is nothing. The atmosphere in the capital is much better now. However, Lin Luoran, the initiator of all this, is not in the mood to care about the surging undercurrents. It is a nice day for a trip. Lin Luoran hides in the shade of a tree on the city wall and reads the breath-holding spell. Luodong jumps on the city wall and then climbs up the wall. He is fascinated by the winding Great Wall. This is Betaling, the first stop of Lin Luoran's trip with Luodong. Lin Luoran closes the book and tries to slow down her breath. Following the spell in the book, she gradually blends into the mottled color of the city wall. Sister? Although Luodong doesn't cultivate, his single Taoist root of the earth is very special. The boy keenly senses the subtle change of the city wall. Lin Luoran smiles. She can't hide her breath anymore. She puts the book away and makes sure that no one is around. Then she jumps up to the top of the city wall. What? Do you want to see the Great Wall from the sky? Chapter 173. There are more than 3,000 chapters in this book, and it is very likely that there will be a second chapter today. Therefore, I'm begging for your collection and comments. In Luodong's life, he has had 3 different flying experiences. He was only 7 or 8 years old at that time, and he was even more shy than he is now. Sitting on Goldie's back, Luodong clenched his fists nervously and looked down at the Mount Qingqing. He was so curious and nervous that his heart almost stopped beating. Sitting on a plane was a completely different feeling. The clouds blocked one's line of sight. The blue sky was quiet and peaceful, making one's heart want to roll around in the clouds and sleep comfortably on the cloud bed. However, these two kinds of thoughts were filled with comfort and ease, inevitably losing the courage of a little man. Not like now. Luo Dong is standing in front of the sword of bright snow, and there is a light shield in front of them. The fresh air filters through the shield, which makes people feel refreshed. Due to the friction caused by flying at such a high altitude, the shield blocks the wind. It is indeed a must for home travel. Oh, it should be a must for home flying. His classmates who talk about online games every day may never have such an experience. Luo Dong is standing on a flying sword and looking down from the sky of the Great Wall of China. Those tourists are right under their noses, but they can't see Luo Dong and Luo Dong above their heads. This is really a strange and nervous feeling. Sister, can't they see us? After all, from the inside, the light shield is also shining. Even if the people below are blind, can't they see the light bulb shaking above their heads? There are so many ways for a cultivator to not be seen by mortals. For example, this light shield is supported by the spell of the water, which avoids the problem of friction when flying at a high speed. In addition, there was a soundproof barrier called mini kiliacosm. From the eyes of mortals, they couldn't see the cover overflowing with spiritual chi, so they naturally couldn't see the flying sword and the two people in the cover. Of course, things like mini kiliacosm wasted too much spiritual power when flying. Even in the previous cultivation world, few people used it. That was why the sky was filled with sword lights and magic weapons. Seeing Lin Luoran nodding, Luo Dong is excited. He keeps saying lower, lower. Lin Luoran, who has always been agreeable to him, smiles. She controls the sword-riding spell and rises to the sky slowly. The sound of the wind blowing through the light shield could be heard. The Great Wall was getting smaller and smaller. The heads of the tourists were like ants. Luo Dong feels that his heart is beating fast. The feeling of flying makes his blood boil. For a moment, he even felt that if he could go back in time, he would even dare to resist those cruel kidnappers when he was young. White clouds floated past the light barrier. Unknowingly, the two of them had already flown to such a high altitude. Seeing that Luo Dong is no longer scared, Lin Luoran doesn't say anything. At this moment, silence is better than words. Where should he go next? A large group of people in the capital, such as Minister Chun of the Special Department and Foppish Mu, who has become an elite in the business circle, all want to see Lin Luoran for various reasons. Unfortunately, Lin Luoran and Luo Dong didn't go back after they finished the Great Wall. Instead, they bought train tickets to Xi. 2 hours later, they got on the train. In fact, if Lin Luoran flew on her sword, it would be much faster. However, the purpose of this trip was to help Luo Dong improve his fear of crowds. Therefore, Lin Luoran chose to take the train and bought 2 hard berth tickets. Both of them have changed into simple casual summer clothes. However, when they got on the noisy carriage, they were still eye-catching. People in the carriage who are busy putting their luggage can't help glancing at them. Whenever Luo Dong sees a lot of people, he becomes a timid child again. However, Lin Luoran squeezes through the crowd by herself. Many people make way for her because of her temperament. Lin Luoran easily finds her berth. Lin Luoran turns around and sees that Luo Dong is still standing at the head of the crowded carriage. Lin Luoran waves to him as if she has never considered whether Luo Dong can adapt to this environment or whether he has the guts to walk over. Anyway, Lin Luoran is looking at him with a smile. Luo Dong hesitates for a while and then tries to squeeze through the crowd. However, he bumps into a passenger's suitcase. Hearing the sound, Luo Dong is startled. The sound is as low as a mosquito's buzz. The passenger yells, "Look where you are going." Luo Dong's shoulders stiffen when he hears the muffled voice of the passenger. However, the thick-shouldered passenger adds, "What if it hits your foot?" Isn't he blaming Luo Dong? Luo Dong nods and says, "Sorry, Thing." Suddenly, he has some courage. Like a mudfish, he squeezes through the crowd quickly. Lin Luoran sees everything, but she still says nothing. With a long whistle, the train started to move. Lin Luoran bought 2 lower berths facing each other. Luo Dong wants to talk about how he felt just now. However, Lin Luoran is looking at the scenery outside the window, so he doesn't say it. Lin Luoran gets on the train right after she buys the ticket. Unlike other passengers who have prepared snacks, Lin Luoran is on the train at 4 p.m. An hour after the train starts, some passengers on the upper berth and next to Luodong start to eat snacks and instant noodles. Under Mrs. Lin's strict supervision, Luodong's mother makes sure that every meal is nutritious. Therefore, Luodong is not allowed to eat instant noodles. Therefore, when it's almost lunchtime, Luodong smells the aroma of instant noodles and craves it. Lin Luoran notices that Luodong keeps glancing at other passengers out of the corner of his eyes. She can't help but laugh in her heart. However, Luodong doesn't say anything, so Lin Luoran pretends that she doesn't see him. At 8 o'clock in the evening, most of the passengers have finished dinner and are chatting. Before Lin Luoran says that she feels sorry for them, a student sleeping on Luodong's upper berth feels sorry for them first. They look like sister and brother, but they haven't even had a sip of water since they got on the bus, let alone eating. Is there anything wrong with them? In fact, appearance can really make a good first impression. The boy doesn't think that if he really can't afford to eat, he won't be able to buy 2 berth tickets. Of course, he doesn't dare to talk to Lin Luoran. After thinking for a while, the boy tries to wave his hand to Luodong. Hey, are you going on a trip with your sister? What? Someone takes the initiative to talk to him. It doesn't look bad. Luodong's voice is not loud, but he speaks in an organized way. He says that he is going on a trip to Xin. I see. My name is Rong, Donglin. What about you? Hearing the word Dong in Rong's name, Luodong feels more friendly. However, he doesn't lose his vigilance. He tells Rong his name and doesn't mention Lin Luoran, who seems to be asleep on the berth. The two get to know each other quickly. Rong takes out 3 bowls of instant noodles and says awkwardly, I got off the train at Xin. I bought so many bowls of instant noodles and I don't know how to eat them all by myself. Luodong, can you do me a favor and help me? Luodong licks his lips. Is this really okay? After all, he is only 12 years old. He can't stand such persuasion. Looking at Lin Luoran, who is sleeping, Luodong thinks that his sister must be hungry, so he can't help but nod. Rong turns over and tries to get up. Luodong thinks that it is inappropriate for him to ask Luodong to help him after he has eaten Rong's food. Therefore, Luodong plucks up his courage and says that he will make the instant noodles himself. Rong is patient. He knows that Luodong should take care of Luodong's self-esteem. He tells Luodong where to turn on the water and warns Luodong to be careful. It is the first time for Luodong to make instant noodles. It takes him a long time to make the seasoning bag according to Rong's instructions. When he finally gets to the water with 2 bowls of instant noodles, he is already sweating profusely. As soon as Luodong leaves, Lin Luoran, who has been sleeping, opens her eyes. Her black pupils seem to be shining brightly. Rong feels ashamed when he is sleeping and doesn't dare to look at her. Lin Luoran smiles and says in a low voice, good people will be rewarded for their good deeds. The boy who looks like a student is trying to avoid eye contact with Lin Luoran. What? Rong doesn't hear it clearly. Lin Luoran closes her eyes again. It turns out that Luodong has come back with 2 bowls of instant noodles. Luodong puts the bowl of instant noodles on the table and says, Donglin, you eat first. Then he leaves with another bowl. Rong looks at Lin Luoran, who seems to be pretending to be asleep. He is confused. Lin Luoran is not asleep. Why did she ask her younger brother to fetch the instant noodles? If it is because of her self-esteem, why did she open her eyes halfway and let Rong know that she is awake? When Luodong finishes making the noodles and comes back, Lin Luoran wakes up. After listening to Luodong's story, Lin Luoran only says, thank you, to Rong, as if she doesn't want to get close to him. Luodong blushes. He doesn't know why his sister, who has always been nice to him, is so cold this time. He tries to talk to Rong about something else, trying to make the kind-hearted Donglin feel less awkward. However, Luodong is a kid who doesn't like to talk to others. He can't talk about Goldie, spells, and flying swords. There is nothing interesting in the school. The only thing he can talk about is the villa of the Lins, which is different from other people's. Luodong talks about the delicious peaches at home, the fruit wine made by his sister, and the flowers in the house. Rong doesn't think that Luodong's house is a big villa. He thinks that Luodong is talking about the countryside, and he listens to Luodong with great interest. Of course, he also felt strange in his heart. This pair of siblings did not seem to come from the countryside at all. Luodong invites Rong to visit his home when he is free. Rong agrees. Seeing that Lin Luoran doesn't say anything, Rong thinks that Luodong is just making a promise. Soon the lights are off. Luodong falls asleep with the excitement of making a new friend. At 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, everyone is asleep. A flashlight flashes. Lin Luoran opens her eyes and asks, "Who is it?" The man is shining the flashlight on the luggage rack. Hearing a female voice, he answers casually, "I'm looking for a kid. I don't know which carriage he is in." Lin Luoran sneers. He is looking for a kid and finds the luggage rack. Does he think that she is as stupid as a 3-year-old? However, she can't ignore Rong, who looks like a student. The luggage is right beside her feet. Hearing Lin Luoran snort, the man shines the flashlight on Lin Luoran again. Lin Luoran opens her mouth and says, "Get out." The man holds his head and drops the flashlight. A passenger is woken up by the noise and starts to mumble. The man runs away with his tail between his legs, ignoring the sudden headache. Lin Luoran turns over and seems to fall asleep again. The carriage is filled with the sound of breathing, teeth grinding, and snoring. However, Luodong is sleeping soundly. Such an episode is not worth mentioning. In the dark, Lin Luoran's eyes are clear and she smiles. Chapter 174. After all, the train is different from home. People who have slept in a hard sleeper know that they will be woken up at 6 or 7 o'clock. Lin Luoran stays up all night. She has accumulated a lot of Reiki jade. All she needs to do is to take one out of the space and hold it in her hand to cultivate. There is no Reiki on the train, which is full of turbid Reiki. When Rong opens his eyes, he sees that his sister, on the lower berth, is reading a magazine. He doesn't know where she got it. This is a slow train and they will arrive at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Rong has already told Luodong the lie he told yesterday. Besides, he doesn't have any more instant noodles for Luodong and Luodong. What should he do? Luodong's sister looks so aloof. Rong wants to help them, but he doesn't know where to start. While Rong is struggling, Luodong wakes up. After washing up, Luodong and Luodong start chatting again. This time, Rong gets more information. For example, Luodong and Luodong are from the R city and they are on this train because they finished their trip in the capital and came to Xi. This is even weirder. Who has money to travel but no money to eat? Rong is confused. It's time for dinner again, but Luodong's sister still doesn't say anything. When Rong opens his mouth again, Luodong refuses to take any food from him. Luodong is smart. He must have figured out that Rong is just trying to be nice to Luodong. The slow train takes 24 hours to get from the capital to Xi. According to Rong's plan, 3 packets of instant noodles are enough for 3 meals. Luodong doesn't need help. However, to Rong's surprise, at noon, Luodong's sister, who has been silent all this time, takes out several hundred-yuan bills from her pocket and puts them on the table. Luodong says, "Can you buy lunch for 3 people in the dining car, Luodong?" Lunch for 3 people? Does this mean that Luodong is going to buy lunch for Luodong? Luodong is happy that he can buy lunch for his new friend. He grabs the money and runs out of the carriage like a slippery fish. Rong says, "Okay." However, Luodong is already far away. Rong chokes back his words and says to Lin with his ears red, "The security on the green leather car is not good. You shouldn't have given a kid so much money." In fact, Rong doesn't know how to express his feelings. Lin Luoran gives Luodong a few hundred yuan so casually. It turns out that Luodong and Lin Luoran don't need his help at all. A few hundred yuan is not a lot, but it is enough for them to eat. Rong, a poor student who doesn't want to spend money on the train meal on the train, feels that he is overthinking and flattering them. In fact, Luodong and Lin Luoran don't need his help at all. Because of this contradiction, Rong says these words to Lin Luoran. He regrets it as soon as he says it. It's not right for him to talk about other people's business. Unexpectedly, Lin Luan, who has been silent all this while, smiles faintly and says, "You are a good person. Good things will always be rewarded." Good things? Rong hears it clearly this time. Isn't it ridiculous for him to help Luodong? In Luodong's sister's eyes, he is doing a good thing. Rong doesn't understand the strange behaviors and thoughts of rich people. Although the price of food has skyrocketed in the past 2 years, Luodong can still afford to buy a meal for 3 people on the train with a few hundred yuan. Because of Luodong's good looks, the attendant in the dining car even brings the food back for him, which makes the other passengers jealous of Luodong, who are working hard to get instant noodles for him. Seeing that Luodong is back, Rong notices that Luodong has become cold and arrogant all of a sudden. Luodong, who doesn't know what is going on, awkwardly greets Donglin to eat. What's more, Rong notices that Luodong only eats a few of the best dishes on the train. Luodong eats even less than the instant noodles last night. Apparently, they are very particular about what they eat. Rong scratches his head. The more he thinks about it, the more complicated it is. There are still some pimples on the corner of his mouth. After all, he is an innocent student. He doesn't have such complicated thoughts. Soon, he forgets about these unusual details and starts to eat shyly. Donglin, are you also traveling to Chang'an? After dinner, Luodong realizes that he hasn't asked Rong about this yet. No, I'm going home. Although Luodong is not a shy person, he is too embarrassed to tell Luodong that he is doing a part-time job at school. He doesn't have time to go home until the new term starts. Why is he embarrassed? Rong doesn't know. Luodong's speech becomes clearer and clearer. Time on the bus is short. They arrive at Shi and railway station soon. Rong notices that Luodong and Luodong don't have any luggage with them. What a strange pair of passengers. Rong is from Shi. He wants to ask Luodong if there is anything he can do to help. However, Luodong is so cold that he swallows his words. Luodong reluctantly leaves his contact information and says goodbye to Rong. Luodong is dragged by Luodong and they disappear in the crowd. It's not cool in Shi. Rong sweats profusely in the crowd at the train station. When he is about to buy a bottle of water, he finds a piece of paper in his pocket. It seems to be cut from a magazine. It looks familiar. Thank you for giving Luodong a chance to communicate with me. Contact me if you need anything. There is a phone number on the back of the note. The name Lin Luoran is signed on the note. The handwriting is delicate and powerful, just like Luodong's sister. Rong scratches his head. He forgot to tell Luodong that he is studying at Chuan University. However, he has only met Luodong once. How can he be so thick-skinned as to contact Luodong? Rong puts the note in his book and goes to a shop on the street to buy water. Maybe Rong doesn't know that the simple note he has received will only show its preciousness at certain moments. Lin Luoran, who has been staring at Luodong coldly all the way, starts to enlighten Luodong. Luodong, do you want to be as broad-minded as Rong? Luodong is confused and looks at her. Lin Luoran smiles. Have you ever observed the clothes of your Donglin? Luodong frowns and thinks for a while. A red t-shirt. Nothing strange. Why is there a connection between clothes and broad-mindedness? What about the cuffs? The cuffs seem to be white? Luodong is not a little emperor who has never lived a hard life. He immediately realizes that Rong is still wearing a white t-shirt. No matter how poor a rich man is, he can't be so thrifty. So, is Donglin's life very poor? Lin Luoran sees the expression on Luodong's face and knows that he must have figured it out. She continues to ask, we got on the bus yesterday and didn't have dinner. Why did Rong, who looks poor, give us instant noodles? Because Donglin is kind-hearted. Luodong blurts out. Lin Luoran holds his hand and walks into an outdoor equipment shop. She adds, he is broad-minded. Even though he doesn't have money, he is willing to give us a few bowls of instant noodles. Even though the instant noodles are the only food he prepared for himself on the bus. Luodong is confused. He seems to understand, but he doesn't know what Lin Luoran is talking about. Lin Luoran doesn't force him. She just shows him 2 sets of mountaineering equipment. Seeing that Luodong is still thinking, Lin Luoran smiles and touches his head. The boy rolls his eyes. Luodong is much more lively than before. Lin Luoran looks at the mountaineering equipment and doesn't say anything to Luodong. She even hopes that Luodong can be like Rong, who doesn't feel inferior because he is poor. If he wants to help others, he is willing to give up a bowl of instant noodles. If one was born into a poor family and could still calmly strive for self-improvement, although they might not necessarily be successful in life, they would have more than twice the chances of success compared to those who gave up on themselves. What is the saying? Height determines breadth of mind. Chapter 175. It is located in Huayin, 100 kilometers east of Xi. It is bordered by the Wei River Plain and the surging Yellow River in the north and the Qinling Mountains in the south. It is a granite mountain on the north side of the watershed of the Qinling Mountains. Of course, only people who are familiar with the geography can know the details of the mountain. Most people will be enlightened if they know the name of the mountain. The plain of the Wei River at the foot of the mountain is only 300 or 400 meters above sea level. However, this mountain is more than 1,700 meters above sea level. It is majestic and dangerous with steep cliffs. This is Lin Luoran's initial impression of Mount Hua after browsing on the internet. The language of the state of Huaxia is magical. Just a few sentences can describe the image of a strange mountain. Of course, this is not as strong as the feeling when you stand at the foot of the mountain. This feeling is especially prominent at night. It is 10 o'clock at night, the best time to climb Mount Huashan. At least Luodong's mouth is wide open. He stares at Mount Huashan in a daze. His eyes move all the way to the top of the mountain. Lin Luoran can understand his feeling. There are many mountains in the center of Chuan, but they are all gentle. Not to mention Luodong, even she has never seen such a dangerous mountain before. Let's go! Lin Luoran leads the way. Luodong, carrying a backpack that is almost half as tall as Lin, follows her closely. The tourists around shake their heads. This sister is so cruel. She asked a teenager to climb the mountain with a big backpack. Lin Luoran hears their whispers. At first, she turns a deaf ear to them. Later, she can't stand the whispers anymore. She glances around and the tourists immediately stop talking. Oh my God, this girl is so beautiful. Her eyes are as clear and bright as ice under the lights. It's a pity that it's so cold. Lin Luoran and Luodong get off in Xi and take a 3-hour bus to Mount Huashan. They are just in time to catch up with the tourists. People who choose to climb the mountain at this time are going to see the sunrise at the top of Mount Huashan at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. They have prepared enough food and water. Lin Luoran and Luodong each carry a big backpack. Lin Luoran has the space, so she doesn't need to bring any food. However, Luodong's backpack is full of outdoor supplies. The tourists accuse her of child abuse, but they are not wrong. Lin Luoran holds the iron chain and asks Luodong with a smile, "Do you want to take a break?" They have been climbing for more than an hour. Luodong, on the other hand, is sweating profusely. The stairs of Mount Hua are steep. Luodong can't move forward without holding on to the iron chains. Besides, he can't be distracted or carry heavy things. Luodong is only 12 years old, so it is very exhausting for him. However, his sister doesn't ask him to stop. Luodong is tough. He doesn't complain that he is tired. He keeps climbing for more than an hour. Lin and Luodong come to an open place where there are many small shops. Many tourists stop to rest. Lin and Luodong rest in a quiet place. Lin pretends to take out some peaches and grapes from her backpack. In fact, she takes them out of the space directly to fool people. The fruits in the space have a special aroma. When Luodong peels the peaches, the aroma permeates the space. The aroma of the peach spreads in the small space. There was a reason why people often associated tourism with food. Those who loved food did not necessarily love to travel. Those who loved to travel were mostly foodies. The fragrance of peaches wafted through the air. More than half of the tourists twitched their nostrils and keenly discovered the strong fruity aroma. Lin Luoran doesn't feel any pressure to eat a peach in front of so many people. However, Luodong is not so shameless. Seeing that all the grandfathers are staring at him, Luodong looks at the peach in his hand and feels embarrassed. However, there is a bunch of grapes in his other hand. Luodong thinks for a while and distributes the grapes to the tourists who are drooling. These grapes. An old man was afraid that the grapes would be too sour. Besides, what they coveted were the peaches that smelled very good. Seeing that the child had generously given him the grapes, he gave face and ate one. The skin was crispy, the juice was plentiful, and there was a hint of sourness in the sweetness. The old man dared to guarantee that he had never eaten such delicious grapes in his decades of life. Just as he was about to eat a few more, the grapes had already been passed to someone else. Only the stem was left. So sweet. Hey little friend, where did you buy these grapes? Damn, are these grapes? What did I eat before? The passengers start to argue. No matter what they say, they all agree that Luodong's grapes are delicious. When they calmed down to look for the generous child, they found that the place where the siblings were standing was nowhere to be found. There are so many people, but they didn't see how the child left. How greedy he is! How embarrassing! Just as this group of tourists was about to continue climbing the mountain, a few other tourists chose to stop here to rest. They are wearing baseball caps and sweatshirts in the middle of the night, which is quite fashionable. They seem to be students. A boy walking in the front stops and takes out a bottle of water from his backpack. He hands it to a girl whose face is half covered by a baseball cap. Bingyan, take a rest here. Drink some water. The girl's name is Bingyan. She seems to think for a while before taking the water. This ordinary gesture makes the boy ecstatic. He stares provocatively at the only boy who is not wearing a cap. When Bingyan raises her head to drink the water, her neck and chin are exposed. Although only half of her face is exposed under the light, Luodong can tell that she is probably a pretty girl. Pei Yuan, who is the last one to see the provocative look, smiles bitterly. This was a lousy plot in a novel. The beautiful and arrogant campus belle just had to get along well with him, a person who had nothing but a glib tongue. This made the campus belle's pursuers in the school feel that he was an eyesore. Last time, when he sent out the photo, some people believed it and some didn't. Xia Bingyan, who has always been good to Pei, belongs to the group of people who don't trust him. In a semi-public event, Xia Bingyan accused Pei of being down-to-earth and don't play to the gallery. This makes Xia Bingyan's pursuers feel that the relationship between Pei and Xia Bingyan is not good. They all stand on Xia Bingyan's side. They try to win Xia's favor by attacking Pei Yuan. For example, a rich man who has been in love with Xia Bingyan for many years organizes this trip to Mount Hua. In Pei Yuan's eyes, this man is the most cunning one among those who pursue Xia Bingyan. He is usually gentle and elegant. If Pei Yuan and Xia Bingyan's relationship hadn't been broken recently, Pei Yuan would have been fooled by this man's elegant appearance. Pei Yuan and Xia Bingyan started to play dirty tricks against Pei Yuan, humiliating him and elevating himself at the same time. If he knew this would happen, why did he still come? Recently, Pei Yuan has been surrounded by so many people. He wants to come out to relax. Besides, he wants to protect Xia Bingyan. So, he has to endure their sarcasm. Pei Yuan, in fact, I am curious. Maybe the fairy you saw that day is real. Zhang Shuming drinks some water and says seriously. Xia Bingyan's beautiful eyebrows are covered by the brim of her hat. Hearing this, she can't help but frown. Realizing their boss's intention, the henchmen all smile kindly. The girl in Xia Bingyan's dormitory has received many gifts from Zhang Shuming. If she doesn't help him now, when will she? Pei Yuan, I used to think you are an honest person. I didn't expect you to be so greedy. Well, Bingyan has a good temper. She even invited you to Mount Hua. If it were me, I would be ashamed to meet my good friend who told me such a big lie. The girl says a lot and Xia Bingyan doesn't stop her. Zhang Shuming is smiling. He is good at reading people's minds. Xia Bingyan used to have a good impression of Pei Yuan, but she didn't really like him. Now that Zhang Shuming intervenes, Xia Bingyan hates Pei Yuan. God is helping Zhang Shuming by claiming that he met the fairy. Hearing these comments, Pei Yuan's ears almost grow calluses. Since he posted the photo on Weibo, Pei Yuan's life has become wonderful like fireworks. His fans were eager for him to describe the events of that night in more detail, while those who mocked him felt that the Koreans wanted to capture the golden eagle, but the fairy master magically appeared. Scene was too much like a fantasy novel. Although the golden hawk disappeared from the Zhongshan mausoleum that night, Pei Yuan can't say that a woman rode it away, can he? After all, if a Korean really wanted to catch the hawk, why didn't the government announce it? Although the profile of the hawk is beautiful, those who laugh at him believe that one day they will find the original photo that Pei Yuan photoshopped. Seeing that Pei Yuan was distracted, Zhang Shuming smiled and said, "Well, Pei Yuan, we are classmates. We are willing to believe you. Even a fairy riding on a hawk can't stop us from watching the sunrise of Mount Hua. Let's go." Xia Bingyan looks back at Pei Yuan calmly. She used to think that Pei Yuan was eloquent and always had a good time with him. But why did he choose to tell such a claptrap lie? Pei Yuan feels wronged by this casual look. They start to climb again. Pei can't help but tighten his right hand which is holding the iron lock. At this moment, Zhang Shuming is showing off his knowledge. He talks about a poem by Zhang Qiao, a poet from the Tang dynasty, who cut the Yitian sword out of the Yitian peak. Xia Bingyan's roommates echo him and cheer. Looking up at the steep peak, Pei Yuan purses his lips. Who cut the Yitian peak with the Yitian sword? If it is the fairy who rode the hawk away, Pei Yuan's intuition tells him that she can do it. However, he is just an ordinary college student at the Jinling University of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Even Xia Bingyan doesn't trust him. How can the sky suddenly send a sword light which is powerful enough to cut the mountain to prove that what he said is not a well-made story? Chapter 176. I can't give up. Luo Dong grits his teeth. He can't breathe because of the heavy backpack on his back. It has just rained and the locks on Mount Hua are getting more and more slippery. Even though Luo Dong is wearing specially prepared gloves, he still feels that he can't hold the iron locks firmly. He is so tired. His feet feel like they are filled with lead. His hands under the gloves must be swollen. Every step he takes is very difficult. It seems that climbing up the stairs of Mount Hua is endless. However, Lin Luoran is always walking in front of Luo Dong calmly. She is 2 or 3 steps away from Luo Dong. Luo Dong feels like he is being led by a string. He can't give up. Boy, is your backpack heavy? Do you need me to carry it for you? The sudden heavy rain stops most of the tourists. Now that they are close to the top of the mountain, there are fewer tourists around them. Actually, Luo Dong and Luo Dong are walking fast. However, there are gains and losses. At such a fast speed, Luo Dong is starting to feel tired. The young boy's pale face really makes some aunties and sisters feel sorry for him. 5 sisters and 3 aunties have offered to help Luo Dong with his backpack along the way. Of course, some of them have offered to help Luo Dong. Lin Luoran, as his real sister, has been despised. Seeing that Lin Luoran is looking back to see if he can walk, Luo Dong feels that he has regained his manhood. His feet, which are filled with lead, are now filled with strength. The sky seems to be brighter than before. He has been holding on for so long and he can see the top of the mountain. How can he give up now? Aunts, thank you. I can do it. Luo Dong shakes the sweat off his hair. He doesn't know that his stubborn face is totally irresistible to these elderly women who are full of motherly love. Lin Luoran is walking in front of Luo Dong. She secretly smiles. He talks to people on the train, buys food by himself, gives out grapes to tourists and says thank you politely. When Lin Luoran first saw Luo Dong didn't even say a word. Even during the first few days, Luo Dong was still shy. Sure enough, beautiful scenery is the best way to open up a man's heart. Her brother has made a lot of progress. That's great. We'll be there soon. Come on. Lin Luoran turns her head and whispers. The boy even forgets the pain in his palm. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Luo Dong doesn't know how long he has been walking. It is only 3 o'clock in the morning. Luo Dong and his sister are the first group of tourists to reach the top of the East Peak. The East Peak of Mount Hua is the best place to enjoy the sunrise. Accommodation is also available on the mountain. One bed costs at least hundreds of yuan, which is extremely expensive. Therefore, most tourists live at the foot of the mountain. Then, like Lin Luoran and the others, they start to climb the mountain late at night. At 3 or 4 o'clock, they climb to the top of the mountain and enjoy the sunrise of Mount Hua. However, it has rained for more than an hour today. Many people stop because the mountain road is too slippery. Because of the difference in walking speed, Lin and Lin become the first group of people to reach the top. There were few tourists at the top of the mountain, which was a good thing. Lin Luoran picks a good place and takes out the tent and other things from Luodong's backpack. She sets up the tent and sets up the tea set on the top of the mountain. The tea leaves are from the mother tree, Grandpa Mu, who gets along well with Luodong. The tea set is a gift from Grandpa Mu. Lin Luoran doesn't make tea first. She and Luodong haven't had a good meal since they got off the train. It's time to replenish their energy after climbing to the top of Mount Hua. Lin Luoran bought a folding table from an outdoor goods store and put it in her space. Lin Luodong doesn't ask Luodong to do it again. There are still some salmon from Norway in the space. It hasn't rotted because of the passage of time. It looks like it was just caught from the sea. It smells delicious. After all, this is a public place. Although there are few people here, Lin Luoran doesn't like to be high profile. She chooses to cut the salmon with a knife instead of using spells. There are a lot of grapes, apples, and peaches on the table. Isn't it too little for the main course? Wait here. As soon as Luodong nods, Lin Luoran jumps up to the pine tree above their heads. Soon, she comes down with several bird eggs the size of pigeon eggs in her hands. The eggs are still wet with dew. The frying pan is new. Lin Luoran secretly makes an omelette with spells. The golden color of the omelette can't be seen on the dark top of the mountain. However, the smell of the omelette is tempting. A sumptuous morning was quietly being prepared at the top of the mountain. There was a faint light in the distant horizon. It seems that the sunrise is coming. Luodong guesses that his shoulders are full of blisters. When he takes off his gloves, there are 2 big blisters on his palms. He secretly puts his hands behind his back and doesn't tell Lin Luoran. At the moment, Luodong is watching his sister preparing breakfast on the top of the mountain. The tourists around him are whispering to each other. Luodong suddenly feels that the bitterness is replaced by sweetness. Sister, Lin Luoran hands him an omelette and shushes him. She points to the sky and says, "Look." What do you see? What you see is that the sky seems to be torn open. The dark blue clouds are surging and a parabola is lit up. Pieces of light seem to fall from the clouds. The red glow is getting brighter and brighter. It is a warm and dazzling color. Luodong squints his eyes. He is sure that he has never seen such a magnificent morning glow. Suddenly, the clouds seemed to move a little, and the sun's radiance finally leaped out of the clouds, casting a very realistic ray of sunlight. Luodong's eyes are wide open. He is dazzled for a moment. At this moment, a strong gust of mountain wind blew over, scattering the clouds in all directions. The mountain peaks and valleys were faintly discernible in the multicolored light, yet constantly changing. With every blink of an eye, a new scenery appeared. Luodong squints his eyes under the sun. He hears Lin Luoran whispering beside him, "If you want to see the beautiful sunrise, you have to trudge through the rainy night. Such a pleasant breakfast should be carried up the mountain by you. Only then will it be especially delicious. Therefore, in life, there should be bitterness before sweetness. Only then will the sweetness be worth recalling. What you have experienced before, there are others who have experienced it. However, they are not as lucky as you. Luodong, if life has lied to you before, it is time to make it up to you in the future." Although everything is arranged, Lin Luoran feels that she is a little clumsy at this moment. She is still not good at talking. Although Luodong is introverted and shy, he is actually more intelligent than his peers. Lin Luoran feels that she is not clear enough, but he understands the meaning of her words. No one could imagine what he had suffered from the hardships and beatings of his childhood. Everyone just let him weave a big cocoon around himself. If he didn't talk about it, no one would mention what had happened before he was adopted by the Lin family. This is a scar. To Ludong's surprise, Lin Luoran doesn't make him feel the pain. Instead, he feels a little sour. Soon, Lin Luoran hears Luodong crying. She turns around. Luodong's eyes are as clear as water in the morning light. His eyes have just been washed by tears. They are like the most transparent crystal in the world. Will Luodong really become different? Lin Luoran is looking forward to it. She has tried her best. The morning light shines through the pine branches, casting a soft golden light on her face. On the steep peak, under the ancient pine trees of Huashan, Lin Luoran looks like a god who has just come to the human world even though she is wearing ordinary clothes. Tourists are dazzled by the beauty under the pine trees. They are all looking at Lin Luoran. Several students who have been arguing along the way climb up. Their leader says gently, but he is also dissatisfied. Pei Yuan, I told you it's okay. Look, it's just a shower. It will stop soon. Now we don't even get to see the sunrise. It is Zhang Shuming who is trying to keep a good image. Xia Bingyan's roommate is much sharper. Pei Yuan, are you crazy about the ferry? If you didn't tell us that the road would be slippery in the rain, we wouldn't have missed the sunrise of Huashan. It's a pity that we may not have the chance to see it again in our lives. One of Zhang Shuming's followers laughs. Pei Yuan, did you draw that picture on your computer or did someone Photoshop it? Ha, don't make fun of Pei Yuan. Zhang Shuming says he doesn't want to make fun of Lin Luoran, but he just laughs. Xia Bingyan can't help but frown. Why is this guy so stubborn? He doesn't deserve any sympathy. Suddenly, Xia Bingyan finds that Pei Yuan is looking at the other side of the mountain. Xia Bingyan follows Pei Yuan's eyes. It is a high mountain. It seems to be the best place to watch the sunrise. There is an old pine tree. Under the shade of the tree, there is a tent. The soft light of the morning sun shines on a woman under the tree. Although it is not an ancient costume and there is no golden eagle, the side of the woman and the line of her neck are exactly the same as the one in the photo of a flying eagle. Xia Bingyan squints her eyes. Everyone follows her line of sight. They see the woman who is like a fairy under the pine tree. She looks so familiar. Pei Yuan, who has been despised along the way, feels tears welling up in his eyes. At this moment, Pei Yuan, who works as a part-time director during the holiday and is a smooth talker in Xia Bingyan's eyes, thinks of an old poem by Pushkin. If life deceives you, don't be sad. Don't be angry. Restrain yourself when you are not happy. Believe that the happy day will come. Chapter 177. Who is that? Zhang Shuming comes to himself first, but his eyes are wandering. He has been in love with Xia Bingyan for years. For one thing, he can't get her. For another, Xia Bingyan's appearance is the most important factor. Most men are visual creatures. Zhang Shuming is not the only one who is stunned. Xia Bingyan looks cold, but she is actually arrogant because she has been pursued by many boys. Xia Bingyan's temperament is totally different from Lin's. She was proud of her own appearance, so she snorted at Pei Yuan's photo of half of her face, thinking that it was a big lie Pei Yuan made to create a topic of conversation. However, the person in the photo is in reality. Xia Bingyan doesn't know how to feel at this moment. She suddenly feels lucky that the baseball cap she is wearing covers most of her expression. Pei Yuan, is this the fairy you were talking about? A henchman comes to himself and asks Pei Yuan with disdain. However, he can't cover his gasp. Xia Bingyan's roommate, who is also a girl, wakes up from the shock. She feels jealous and says sarcastically, Pei Yuan, don't you know the so-called fairy? Why don't you go and have a chat with her? No matter how good-tempered Pei Yuan is, he can't help but feel disgusted. Xia Bingyan believes that he is lying because Jiang Ping has been stirring up trouble between them. He just doesn't have enough money to please Jiang Ping. When he and Xia Bingyan were friends, Jiang Ping always satirized him in a roundabout way. She is too much. It would be fine if it was in the past. Really, it would be fine if it was in the past. However, he met the fairy by chance. At this moment, it seemed that Jiang Ping wanted to clear his name. Pei Yuan couldn't help clenching his fists. Strangely, he doesn't think about Xia Bingyan's thoughts. The only thought in his mind is whether it is blasphemy for them to talk about this in front of the fairy. Does she know that he has uploaded the photo to the internet? Pei Yuan starts to regret his vanity. Pei Yuan's face turns pale and then red and then purple. His face is more changeable than the morning glow. In fact, Lin Luoran has already heard their discussion. Lin Luoran now has a photographic memory. Speaking of which, this college student named Pei Yuan is the first person from Huaxia she has seen since she came out of the blood pool in the underground palace. Lin Luoran is in a good mood. Lin Luoran hears that Pei Yuan has posted a picture of her riding Goldie on the internet. It seemed like his classmates were all laughing at him. After hearing a few words, Lin Luoran has a general idea of the situation. Although she didn't take the initiative to spread the photos, she didn't try to avoid it. It wasn't like the photos of her committing murder or arson were being circulated. It was the government's job to guide the public opinion. Why was she so anxious? Besides, Pei Yuan is just a student. If she was his age, she would also want to share the same experience with others to get recognition. Seeing that Pei Yuan is standing there with a red face and hesitating, Lin Luoran is in a good mood and does things as she pleases. Lung, can I ask a brother to come and have breakfast with you? Luo Dong has just finished crying. He feels like he has gotten rid of a big burden. Although he doesn't become a different person right away, he is looking forward to making new friends because of Rong's good example. Seeing that Luo Dong nods, Lin Luoran smiles and says hello to the students. Pei Yuan, it's hard to climb the mountain. Why don't you come here and have a cup of tea? What? Is she really calling Pei Yuan's name? Does that woman really know Pei Yuan? Zhang Shuming is a bit envious. Xia Bingyan feels a bit uncomfortable. Jiang Ping sneers, Hey, Pei Yuan, do you really know each other? Did you make an appointment to meet here? Otherwise, why don't I see the legendary Golden Hawk? Xia Bingyan scolds, Jiang Ping. Jiang Ping sticks out her tongue, Fine. Beauty Xia is angry. I'll stop talking. Xia Bingyan looks at Pei Yuan. They have known each other for many years. She believes that Pei Yuan will lie for the sake of vanity, but he won't deliberately arrange a chance encounter in front of his classmates. Pei Yuan, however, blushes. He is at a loss of what to do. Lin Luoran came to them from the Zhongshan Mausoleum on the back of a golden hawk and knocked those Koreans down with just a few pointers. This scene is so shocking to Pei that he can't believe that such a beautiful woman can remember his name. Well, she even asked him to have tea with her. Tea on the top of Mount Hua? Pei Yuan wonders if he heard it wrong. Lin Luoran raises her voice again, Pei Yuan. It seems that he is the only one named Pei Yuan. Jiang Ping covers her mouth and smiles. Pei Yuan, your fairy is calling you. Pei Yuan stared at her fiercely, but then he came to himself. He tidied up his clothes and went to the mountain rock seriously. The tent is packed up by Luo Dong. There is a low table, a folding table and 3 futons made of straw. Pei Yuan is at a loss. Lin Luoran smiles. Sit down. Pei Yuan feels that there is still a gap between him and a woman who flies on a hawk. However, Luo Dong looks so kind. Pei Yuan touches his backpack. There is only a bag of dried sweet potatoes. He takes it out and gives it to Luo Dong. Thank you, brother. Brother, sit here. Luo Dong arranges the futon for Pei Yuan. Pei sits down carefully. The soft futon feels even more comfortable than a leather sofa. Is it really made of straw? He doesn't dare to look at Lin Luoran directly. He looks at the low table in front of him. Did he see wrongly? Salmon? Peaches, apples, peaches, cheese, grapes, and fried eggs? There is even a tea set. Lin Luoran asked him to have tea with her. Did she buy these things on the top of the mountain? Or did she carry them up here? Isn't it a bit too much for a college student like Pei Yuan to have breakfast? At most, he will eat a piece of bread and drink a bottle of yogurt. He has never seen tea for breakfast. Let's go and have a look. Seeing that Pei Yuan really sits down, Jiang Ping can't help but say. Even Xia Bingyan agrees with her suggestion. Xia Bingyan takes the lead and walks over. Lin Luoran says calmly, Pei Yuan, it has been more than a month since we last met. How have you been? Pei Yuan is stunned. Glancing at several classmates coming, he suddenly realizes that the fairy is trying to help him win face. He is touched and scared at the same time. He nods. Thank you for your concern. I'm doing well. I just took the liberty to upload your photo. Lin Luoran waves her hand. Let's not talk about this. Try the tea I made. Though Lin Luoran has just learned how to make tea, she has a good understanding of the process. She cleans hands, sets up the tea set, washes the tea set, boils the water, washes the tea, makes the tea. Lin Luoran's actions are as smooth as flowing water. She is like a spring breeze. The most important thing is that Lin Luoran's momentum matches the tea ceremony. The feeling of burning incense under the pine trees and walking out of a painting is the same as the tranquility of the tea. What makes Pei Yuan's eyes pop out is that the water that cleans hands seems to appear out of nowhere. From his angle, he can see clearly that there is no charcoal in the stove at all. However, there is fire. Are these all done by immortals? With salmon in his mouth, Pei Yuan almost chokes when he sees Lin Luoran making a gesture of please. The sashimi is so delicious, Lin Luodong smiles, but it is a kind smile. Pei Yuan is no longer nervous. He holds up the tea and takes a sip. The tea is golden red and smooth. It tastes like caramel. The aftertaste is sweet. The most important thing is that the tea smells so good. How can such a small cup of tea have so many flavors? What tea is this? It tastes so good. Pei Yuan let out a long sigh. As he spoke, the tea lingered in his mouth, with the taste of orchids. Before Lin Luoran says anything, Luodong sticks out his tongue and says, Grandpa Mu said it's called Dahongpo, the mother tree of Mount Wui. Do you like it? Lin Luoran smiles and says, if you like it, I can give you some. However, I got it from someone else, so I don't have many left. Don't complain. Though Pei Yuan is a tour guide, he is not familiar with the tea ceremony. He has heard that Dahongpo is famous in Mount Wui, but he doesn't know the value of the mother tree. Since Lin Luoran wants to give him some, he hesitates and says yes. Pei Yuan is about to drink again when he hears Zhang Shuming's voice behind him. Pei Yuan, your fairy friend is so generous. Dahongpo, the mother tree of Mount Wui, is priceless. Occasionally, it can be sold at a sky-high price in the auction house. The rest of the 7 tea trees are only worth a few taels of silver a year. I didn't know until today that it can be given as a gift. Child Zhang, you know a lot. Jiang Ping covers her mouth. Pei Yuan is so pretentious. If he really has such a rich and noble friend, why does he work so hard to be a tour guide? Pei Yuan pauses. He doesn't doubt the authenticity of the tea, but he wonders if it is inappropriate for him to accept such an expensive gift. Lin Luoran pinches a grape. Pei Yuan's classmates are really like villains. They are from the same school. Why do they have to be so cruel and humiliating in public? Lin Luoran doesn't like this kind of behavior. People who are familiar with Lin Luoran know that she rarely hates someone or something. If she really hates someone, Lin Luoran won't bother to save the person's face. Therefore, when Zhang Shuming asks for a cup of tea to have a taste of Dahongpo, Lin Luoran doesn't respond as she usually does. Instead, she raises her eyebrows and says, "Excuse me, who are you?" Well, everyone is stunned. Jiang Ping comes to herself first. "Hey, is it fake tea? Are you afraid that Mr. Zhang will find out?" Lin Luoran glances at Jiang Ping. Jiang Ping's heart jumps. She can't help but shrink to Xia Bingyan. Lin Luoran's eyes are gentle. These students have never seen such an imposing person. Suddenly, Lin Luoran smiles. "Not everyone can drink my tea. Pei Yuan, are they your classmates?" Chapter 178. Pei Yuan, are they your classmates? Though Lin Luoran asks casually, Pei Yuan feels that he has never been in such a high position in his life. As long as he shakes his head, the fairy will definitely ignore them, and he will be able to vent all the ridicule he has suffered in the past 2 months. As long as he shakes his head, Pei Yuan feels that his heart is clamoring for him to shake his head. It seems to be a long process, but in fact, it only takes 3 seconds. Yes, they are my classmates. I don't know them very well. Lin Luoran doesn't care about the angry faces that Pei Yuan classifies as not familiar with. She almost laughs because of this interesting answer. If Pei Yuan answers, "No, Lin Luoran doesn't mind slapping these people's faces for him since they have met once before. However, the chance encounter between her and her student in the vast sea of people probably ends here. Pei Yuan doesn't answer no, nor does he answer yes. Lin Luoran thinks that Pei Yuan is a nice guy because of his choice in the face of temptation. Does she like kind kids more? Since he is your classmate, this student? Lin Luoran looks at Zhang Shuming, who is talking nonsense. Elegant people, like Lu Zheng, whom Lin Luoran knows, have a good upbringing. They will never embarrass others in public. Zhang Shuming is uncomfortable. Seeing that Lin Luoran is looking at him, the discomfort seems to run away. He nods slightly and says, "My surname is Zhang. Fairy, you can call me Shuming." Lin Luoran holds back her laughter. Zhang Shuming is a student, but he talks like an adult and tries to flatter Lin Luoran. "What's Shuming? I don't know you." "Oh, Mr. Zhang, are you the one who said that my tea is fake?" Lin Luoran is looking at him with a smile. Zhang Shuming is confused. He can drink poison as if it is a famous tea. How can he say that it is fake? Jiang Ping is not convinced. She says firmly, "Let us all drink it whether it is real or not." Ludong's face turns red with anger. He doesn't want to compare himself with others, but he knows that Grandpa Mu's family is big. How can he give them fake tea? Seeing that Lin Luoran doesn't stop them, Luo Dong gets up and gives the teacup to Zhang Shuming, who looks like a smiling tiger and dislikes him very much. The teacup is very small, and the teacup is for 4 people. Luo Dong stands up and gives the teacup to Zhang Shuming, who he doesn't like at all. Now, Zhang Shuming knows that he has offended Xia Bingyan. He also knows that a bird in the hand is better than many birds in the forest. Besides, he has spent years on Xia Bingyan. He can't give up so easily. Zhang Shuming's eyes twinkle. The only thing he can do now is to expose this woman's true colors and trample Pei Yuan and his accomplices into the mud. Zhang Shuming also knew a little about the way of tea. He took the teacup and carefully examined it. The color of the tea was golden red and translucent. There was no need to drink it. Just by smelling it, he could tell that it was indeed a high-quality Da Hong Pao tea. However, it would be too much to say that the mother tree was Da Hong Pao. Tea leaves from the mother tree were forbidden to be harvested thousands of years ago. If someone still had the mother tree Da Hong Pao tea, he would have kept it in his hand instead of taking it out to serve strangers. The more Zhang Shuming thinks about it, the more he feels that he is right. In fact, he has lost the state of mind needed to taste tea. The tea he tasted was slightly caramel at the first sip. After 2 or 3 steeps, it turned into a faint orchid fragrance. At first, it was mellow and a little astringent. But soon, his cheeks were watery and his mouth was full of sweetness. After 5 or 6 steeps, the tea was still mellow and smooth with a long aftertaste. All these were the characteristics of the top-grade Da Hong Pao tea. Anyone who knew a little about the way of tea would know that. However, Zhang Shuming didn't have a good mind. After tasting it for a long time, he said hesitantly, "I'm not sure." This was his usual tactic. He didn't say that it was not the Da Hong Pao tea. He just said that he was not sure, which meant that he refused to admit that it was true. Lin Luoran bursts into laughter. Zhang is so shameless. Since you don't have the ability, why do you want to do it? Lin Luoran's ruthless words change Zhang Shuming's expression. When he is about to explain, Xia Bingyan, who has been standing aside without saying a word, suddenly says, "Yes, it smells like this. Can you buy me a cup of tea?" Bingyan. Jiang Ping is confused. Isn't her friend doing this to make the enemy proud? As for Zhang Shuming, he feels that his fragile heart is broken. Xia Bingyan doesn't pay attention to them. She doesn't want to hide anymore. She takes off her baseball cap. Her ponytail is not very stunning, but she is a girl who is worth a second look. "Can you buy me a cup of tea?" She asks again. Her tone is cold, but it is formal. Pei Yuan is a little embarrassed. "This is my good friend, Xia Bingyan." Lin Luoran is very polite. She even takes out a cushion from her school bag and asks Xia Bingyan to sit down. Except for Pei Yuan, the other 3 people under the mattress are all good-looking. Even if they just sit there, they will add a special view to Mount Hua, not to mention tasting tea. She doesn't have enough cups. She is too shy to use Pei Yuan's cup. She doesn't dare to use Lin Luoran's cup. In the end, she borrows Luodong's cup. Holding the purple-brown cup, Xia Bingyan takes a sip. She closes her eyes to savor the taste for a while. When she opens her eyes, she only says 2 words, rock flavor. She had never thought that in a place like Mount Hua, only by tasting Da Hong Pao would one be able to taste the true charm of the rock tea. Xia Bingyan's eyes turn dark. Since Pei Yuan's friend has such a powerful background, why did he choose her? It's true. Xia Bingyan has her own pride. Though Xia Bingyan is not as beautiful as Lin Luoran, she won't lie. Jiang Ping stomps her feet. Zhang Shuming feels embarrassed. Bingyan, do you want to confirm it? Xia Bingyan raises her head. Zhang Shuming, have you ever drunk Da Hongpo tea from the parent tree? Of course, Zhang Shuming hasn't drunk it. He blushes. I have drunk it once at my grandpa's place. It feels exactly the same. No, this is the real Da Hongpo tea. It's even better. It's the real Da Hongpo tea. When Xia Bingyan mentions Grandpa, the old headmaster of Nanhang University, Zhang Shuming can't help but say that he wants to go down the mountain. He thought that someone would ask him to stay, but none of the 4 people said a single word to make him stay. Zhang Shuming runs away. His henchmen can't stay any longer. Jiang Ping is at a loss. Xia Bingyan bites her lips. Jiang Ping, you should go back. I was wrong about you. Xia Bingyan is a smart girl. She used to think that Jiang Ping didn't think highly of Pei Yuan. However, during this trip to Mount Hua, she has seen everything. It is obvious that Jiang Ping and Zhang Shuming have made a deal in private. She can accept her friend's shortcomings, but she can't accept the fact that Lin Luoran has made her own decisions behind her back. Jiang Ping grits her teeth and follows Zhang Shuming. The people she doesn't like are all gone. Lin Luoran feels that the air is much fresher. She puts away the tea set and takes out the fruit wine she brewed. She fills everyone's cup and says in a low voice, "It's interesting to see a girl throwing a tantrum." Lin Luoran finally realizes that Xia Bingyan doesn't trust Pei Yuan. She is jealous. However, both of them are ignorant, which makes the situation worse. Hearing Lin Luoran's words, Xia Bingyan blushes. She bites her lips and asks, "Is the photo taken by Pei Yuan real?" Lin Luoran has a headache. Why are girls nowadays so stubborn? Staring at Lin Luoran, Xia Bingyan feels inferior. However, she doesn't know why she wants to take a gamble. Lin Luoran doesn't know what she wants. Seeing that Lin doesn't answer for a long time, Xia Bingyan picks up the glass and drinks it up. She drinks so fast that she is almost in tears. Pei Yuan wants to say something but he doesn't know how to explain. Looking at Xia Bingyan's stubborn face, Pei Yuan feels dull. When Xia Bingyan is about to give up, Lin Luoran stands up and lowers her head. If you believe it, then it's real. If you don't, then it's fake. What kind of answer is this? Xia Bingyan looks back at Pei Yuan. When they look at each other, Pei feels his heart is beating fast. Lin Luodong is about to say something but Lin Luoran covers his mouth. The 2 of them disappear into the crowd. They don't even take the table away. The sun is rising higher and higher. Floating clouds are floating above the pine branches. The clouds are changing and the tourists are weaving. Under the pine branches, the 2 of them don't feel the outside world. They are getting closer and closer to each other. When the 2 of them come back to their senses, the 2 of them are gone. There are only tea and food left. The futon under them shows that all of this has happened. There is a small bag of tea on the table with a note under it. "Hey, Pei, remember to return my futon when you are in love." Pei Yuan smiles at first and then he becomes nervous. Is she really? Xia Bingyan blinks her eyelashes. I believe you. Lin Luodong, who is hiding on a big pine tree on the opposite peak, says, "Sister, adults are so strange. What's so interesting about 2 eyeballs? How can they stare at their faces for such a long time?" Lin Luoran laughs. She has a failed first love. However, she has to admit that it is a beautiful and pure feeling. Boys and girls don't know how to express their jealousy or anger. Lin Luoran gives the boat a little push. She can see the 2 of them looking at each other. What a yearning youth. Chapter 179. In the next few days, Lin Luoran and Luo Dong travel around Mount Hua. It is not only limited to Mount Hua, but also deep into the Qinling Mountains. For Lin Luoran, the uninhabited and overgrown place is a more comfortable place. At night, they find an open space in the mountains to set up camp. Most of the food they eat is local. In summer, no matter where they are, there are always mushrooms and black fungus. Luo Dong has tasted all kinds of mushroom soup. Of course, Lin Luoran has tasted all kinds of bird eggs. Lin Luoran usually only takes 5 out of 10 bird eggs and leaves some for the birds to reproduce. During the day, Lin Luoran takes Luo Dong around the mountains to get to know all kinds of animals and plants. Lin Luoran and Luo Dong take pictures of some rare plants with their cameras. Lin Luoran and Luo Dong also take pictures of a beautiful spring, a rugged rock, or a naughty monkey. From this point of view, the development of science and technology is actually very good. In addition, Lin Luoran also finds wild ginseng and Ganoderma in the mountains. The former seems to be good because it is hundreds of years old. Lin Luoran throws it to the ginseng in the space as a companion. The latter is ordinary. However, Ganoderma is so famous that Lin Luoran transplants it to the space just in case. During the day, Lin Luoran chooses a cliff with a suitable terrain and goes to the top of the mountain to make a climbing rope. She makes tea at the top of the mountain and waits for Luo Dong to climb up. Of course, Luo Dong always needs Lin Luoran's help in the beginning. After a few days of climbing, Luo Dong falls in love with this sport. The two of them go all the way to Mount Wui in Fujian. Lin Luoran comes here with bad intentions. It is already dark, but they still hide in the Jiulong Nest scenic area. Luo Dong rolls his eyes and finally realizes what his sister wants to do. Well, is it a good idea to be a thief? Lin Luoran steals a few twigs from the mother tree, Dahongpo. The boy is struggling in his mind. How could a cliff resist the imperial wind technique? That's why, if a cultivator didn't do anything good, then his destructive power would be 100 times greater than that of an ordinary person. Of course, Lin Luoran doesn't break the branches of the mother tree for nothing. Though the government has banned the harvesting of these hundreds of years old tea trees, Lin Luoran takes them without asking. She doesn't want to make some tea addicts sad if they lose their inheritance in the near future. Therefore, Lin Luoran gives each of them a ball of pure wood reiki. Speaking of which, it's not a small price to get these branches. Lin Luoran had planned to collect some famous tea leaves and plant them in her space. However, after the trip to Wui Mountain, she has to stop her plan. First of all, Luo Dong is about to go back to school. She can't keep playing with him. Second of all, when Guanjing, whom she hasn't seen for more than 3 years, calls her for the first time and asks her to meet him in the R city. When Guanjing seems to be very busy these years. It seems that he has been on missions abroad. However, when he comes back, he always cares about the Lin family. At least, Lin Luoran has heard from her mother several times that, why doesn't Luo Dong come? Putting aside Mrs. Lin's ulterior motives, Lin Luoran has a good impression of her friend. Several hours later, Lin Luoran and Luo Dong return to the R city with Luo Dong, who has not had enough fun. Since Luo Dong is about to go back to school, Mrs. Lin has cleaned up the house in the city and moved in. Mr. Lin and Baojia stay in the mountain to cultivate. Goldie also needs to relax in Mount Qingqing. When Guanjing is waiting for her in the Lin's house in the city. When Luoran arrives, it is past 3 in the afternoon. Mrs. Lin is chatting with Wen Guanjing in the living room. Seeing that Luo Dong is back, Mrs. Lin sighs that Luo Dong has grown up. She stops Luo Dong and says that Luo Dong has lost weight and become darker. Mom, what are you talking about? This is what a man should be. Luo Dong shows off his muscles, which are the result of climbing the mountain. Mrs. Lin is shocked by the sudden change of Luo Dong. Luo Dong doesn't give her any time to accept it. He says, Mom, I dug some flowers for you and we took a lot of photos. Let's go upstairs and I'll show them to you. Then, Luo Dong pulls Mrs. Lin away. He turns around and winks at Lin Luoran. Lin Luoran almost spits out the tea in her mouth. She and Wen Guanjing are not like Pei Yuan and Xia Bingyan. How can this little boy come up with this idea? In the living room, when Guanjing and Lin Luoran haven't seen each other for a long time. When Guanjing coughs and says, "Sister Lin." "No, Master Lin, congratulations on laying foundation." Lin Luoran makes a gesture of begging. "Forget it. I'd rather you call me Sister Lin." She has laid foundation and she can't call Wen Guanjing brother anymore. Otherwise, people will think that Wen Guanjing doesn't know what's good for him, which will make him feel embarrassed. "Yes, Sister Lin." Wen Guanjing accepts Lin Luoran's advice. He can tell that Lin Luoran's attitude makes him feel comfortable. After all, they have been to the secret land together. It is good that they are not strangers. Lin Luoran thinks for a while and takes out the universal sack. The sack has been in the space all the time. It contains one of the 12 broken jades that can open the secret land. It is this treasure that teleports her out at the last moment of the secret land's closing and creates a wonderful journey of drifting along the sea. Lin Luoran doesn't have to give it back to Qin Yun because she doesn't like the so-called Minister Qin. However, when Guanjing only takes the piece of jade and explains, "This belongs to the Wen family. I can't make the decision." As for the universal sack and the jade map, they are kept as souvenirs for the cultivators who attend the secret land. "Sister Lin, you can keep them. I heard that you have been abroad these years. Why didn't you take a good rest when you came back? Why did you come to our city?" Actually, Lin Luoran means that Wen Guanjing should focus on his cultivation. Wen Guanjing has made no progress in cultivation since they parted 3 years ago. That is strange. Logically speaking, Wen Guanjing should have a good Taoist root since he is valued by the head of the Wen family and Minister Qin, and he is the most powerful cultivator among the young generation. Wen Guanjing is excited and mysterious when he talks about what happened abroad. "Sister Lin, you will never know what I have found in the past few years." Lin Luoran looks at Wen Guanjing and sees him fumbling in the universal sack. Lin Luoran is anxious, but Wen Guanjing takes out a laptop. "Well, if there is something special about this laptop, it must be a new model of IBM. A gift for me?" Wen Guanjing nods and then shakes his head. "Yes, but not a laptop." He turns on the laptop and asks anxiously, "Sister Lin, have you seen the movie God is Crazy Too?" Lin Luoran has seen such a classic movie when she was in college. It is so special that she can even remember the plot clearly. The one about the Bushmen? The movie was made in the 1980s. It is an interesting story about the Bushmen living in the desert of Africa who encounter modern civilization. Although they were only 600 kilometers away from the modern city, these Bushmen knew nothing about modern civilization. They dug tree roots to squeeze juice, collected dew from the leaves in the morning to quench their thirst, and relied on hunting to survive. There were no conflicts or disputes. This was a simple and happy tribe. Until one day, a Coke bottle fell from a plane in the middle of the sky, and everything slowly changed. The Bushman language in the movie, which Lin Luoran doesn't understand, is the main reason why she remembers it. However, what does it have to do with Wen Guanjing's gift? The laptop is turned on soon. Lin Luoran cranes her neck and looks at the screen. It is a picture of an African in the desert. Behind the African, there are some colorful murals carved on the rocks. The murals are colorful and striking. However, why does it look so familiar? Lin Luoran tries hard to recall. She finally remembers where she has seen this picture. Isn't this the stills of the actor who predicts the future by painting murals in the desert in the season of the American TV series, Heroes? Wen Guanjing is not a hot-tempered person. Does he ask her to come back from Fujian just to see the stills? Lin Luoran takes a closer look and finds that Wen Guanjing's hand holding the mouse is shaking. This is just a foreshadowing. Sister Lin, do you know that besides being good at hunting and tracking, the Bushmen are also good at using murals to record history? This picture was taken in the Kalahari Desert in Africa. Wen Guanjing opens an encrypted file. Lin Luoran glances at it casually and then her pupils contract. Is it? Wen Guanjing clicks on the files one by one. Every picture is about the same scene. Only a few differences can tell that they are telling the same story. Different pictures, different angles, and different evidence. Lin Luoran doesn't say anything. She looks even more serious than Wen Guanjing. There are only 7 or 8 pictures. Lin Luoran finishes looking at them quickly. Lin Luoran looks at Wen Guanjing, trying to get him to deny it. However, Wen Guanjing nods solemnly. Senior sister, this is the most precious thing that I have gained from my years abroad. The Bushmen who can paint, they really gave me a big surprise. Lin Luoran breathes a sigh of relief. It is not a surprise for her, but it is a big surprise. The same scene can be faked if it happens once. But what does it mean when it is found in the African continent? Would it be what they had been expecting? Chapter 180. What? To Africa? Baojia stares at Lin Luoran suspiciously. I mean, you just came back. That's why I want to invite you. Of course, I will think of my sister Baojia when I have something good to do. Lin Luoran jokes, trying to lighten the topic. Baojia's face is very thin. She is totally a cultivation maniac. It seems that it is a good idea to take her to see the African grassland. Baojia raises her head and says, "You are a good girl." But Luodong is starting school. She still wants to say something, but Lin Luoran tells her, Luodong is starting school. Mr. and Mrs. Lin will go back to the city to take care of him. Don't you feel bored staying in the villa alone? Baojia says, Goldie is with me. Goldie is more comfortable in the mountain without you. Go ahead. To prove Lin Luoran's words, Ao Jiaojin tilts its head, looks at Lin Luoran and chirps a few times. With Goldie's cooperation and Lin Luoran acting like a little girl, Baojia finally agrees to go on a trip. The plane tickets are booked quickly. Except for Wen Guanjing, none of them have been to Africa. Everyone is curious about this mysterious land. The photo of Wen Guanjing comes from a place called Namibia in the Kalahari Desert. As soon as they get out of the airport, Baojia feels hot and dry, which is unique to Africa. Lin Luoran throws a water mask on her face, and she immediately feels much better. They don't leave for their destination right away. According to Wen Guanjing, food, water and necessary medicine are much more useful than money in the Bushman tribe. The three of them buy a lot of things. Lin Luoran has the space, so the universal sack finally belongs to Baojia. Seeing that Baojia doesn't stop until the space is full, Lin Luoran suspects that Baojia is going to stay in the tribe for a month or two. Wen Guanjing also arranges a guide for them. The guide is from the Bushman tribe and has gradually integrated into the modern society. He can speak English and Bushman language, so he is a good translator. A weather-beaten jeep traversed through the sand. As they went deeper into the Kalahari Desert, the trees were sparse, and the vegetation on the ground was scattered in twos and threes. It was similar to the grassy African savanna in the animal world that they had watched since they were young, but they were fundamentally different. Africa, which was rich in minerals, was not full of gold. The air conditioner of the shabby jeep has been broken for a long time. Lin Luoran doesn't need to open the window. With her personal ability, she is not afraid of heat and cold. However, Baojia is soaked in sweat in less than 3 minutes. Her face is dripping with sweat as if she has just been soaked in sweat. Only by opening the car window to allow the air to circulate, the sand and dust brought up by the car wheels quickly blew into his face, sticking to his sweaty cheeks and refusing to leave, forming a black mess. Lin Luoran is refreshed and there is no dust on her body. Baojia says angrily, "This is so worrying. When can I be like you?" Lin Luoran glances at her. The water reiki and wood reiki in her body are loosening. As long as she can freely control the reiki in her body, she will have officially stepped into the early stage of training qi. Soon, as long as you can learn Taoism, you will be able to avoid the sand and dust. Baojia glares at her. Her face is full of sand. She doesn't want to look at the scenery outside the car window anymore. Anyway, she will stay in the desert for a long time. She will have plenty of opportunities to enjoy the scenery. When Guanjing is sitting in the passenger seat, he turns around and says, "You have reached the early stage of training qi in only 3 years. You are very talented." Others may not know, but he knows that it took Li Shi 7 or 8 years to reach the middle stage of training qi with the single Taoist route. Therefore, Lin Luoran's friend has reached the early stage of training qi in only 3 years, which should be enough to make many people jealous. Lin Luoran looks out of the window and says, Talent is important, but she also needs to work hard. Baojia really works hard on her cultivation. During the 3 years when Lin Luoran was trapped in the blood pool in the underground palace, there was no help from the Lin family. Without the help of elixirs and spirit stones, Baojia can make such progress. It can be seen that she is very diligent. The car has been driving in the desert for 7 or 8 hours. There is only a short break during lunch, when Guanjing and the local guide, Barney, take turns driving. Even so, Baojia almost vomits due to the jolting. Lin Luoran feels sorry. She transmits some wood reiki into Baojia's body. The wood reiki in Baojia's body resonates with it. Baojia feels refreshed and relaxed. Led by the guide, Lin Luoran and the other two arrive at a small tribe of Bushmen. Nowadays, there are less than 10,000 Bushmen in the Kalahari Desert. Only a small part of them still lives in the desert. Each small group has about 20 people. The tribe that Lin Luoran and the others are going to has more than 100 people. They park the car. There are only a few dead trees and some weeds. They are surrounded by yellow sand. It is hard to imagine that there are people living in the depths of the desert. Barney leads the way, and Lin Luoran and the other two follow him. They go to the place where there is fire and people's voices. It should be the tribe of Bushmen they are looking for. Lin Luoran knows that some tribes in Africa are very poor, but it is hard to imagine that they can be so poor without seeing it. The typical example is the Bushmen, who live far away from modern civilization. For example, what Lin Luoran is seeing right now. Along the way, there were only a few campfires and some low thatched shacks. Both men and women used straw ropes to cover their important parts. The children were all naked, and the women were also bare-chested. The Bushmen, who are about 1.5 meters tall, are waiting with spears. It turns out that they have heard the sound of the jeep from far away. Now it is sunset, and the sound of the jeep is a signal of danger for the alert Bushmen. Fortunately, when Guanjing brought a guide with him. Otherwise, what awaits them is not the information about the murals, but a conflict. After listening to Barney's words, these people don't point their spears at them anymore. However, they don't let their guard down either. They look at Lin Luoran alertly, especially Lin Luoran. Bushmen are born to be sensitive to danger. Lin Luoran comes from the desert, but she is clean. Although she is smiling, they feel that she will be very scary when she is angry. Barney looks relaxed. He turns around and says to Lin Luoran, Baojia, and Lin Luoran that the only thing they need to do now is to visit the chief. The chief is the leader of the tribe. Lin Luoran follows Barney. When they arrive at the chief's house, she finds that it is just a slightly bigger thatched shed. It doesn't have the treatment that a chief should enjoy. A group of Bushmen, men and women, old and young, are talking and laughing around the fire. Although they are not wearing clothes, Lin Luoran doesn't know why the smiles on their faces are sincere and touching, regardless of their skin color or race. The chief is a very young Bushman, about 1.6 meters tall. He is considered strong in the tribe. The gifts are very small in Lin Luoran's eyes. 5 pounds of beef, 1 pound of salt, and several large bottles of purified water. The chief is happy to see the 5 pounds of beef. However, when he sees the bottles of water, all the people around the campfire come to him. Even the hunters who were hostile to Lin Luoran and Baojia smile for the first time. I didn't know that water is so precious, Baojia says in a low voice. Lin Luoran shakes her head. Keep watching. Lin Luoran thinks of the movie, God's Crazy Too. Maybe they care more than clean drinking water. Sure enough, Barney says in English, they all like these bottles. They say that they can collect drinking water and that we are the distinguished guests of the Bushmen. Lin Luoran, when Guanjing and Lin Luoran can understand English. Baojia smacks her lips. There are many candies in her universal sack. Baojia is born to be close to people. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing avoid people and go to talk to the chief. Baojia stays by the fire and communicates with a group of Bushman women and children with gestures. Behind the shack, Wen Guanjing takes out a printed photo from his backpack and hands it to the young chief. The chief is shocked by the modern technology. He takes over the photo and looks at it. Barney conveys Lin Luoran's request to him, and then the chief starts to look at the content of the photo. Maybe because of the light he can't see anything for a long time. Lin Luoran takes out a small flashlight. The young chief is amazed by all the modern things. It seems that almost no one has ever been to this tribe. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing wait patiently for the chief to finish studying the glowing stick. After Lin Luoran promises to give him the flashlight, the chief starts to look at the photo seriously. "Ah!" he screams with his eyes wide open. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing look at each other and see the joy on each other's faces. Judging from the chief's expression, it is clear that he knows the mural in the photo. "Is this trip going so smoothly?" Barney asks him. "Where is this place?" After asking a few times, the tribal chief's eyes widened. He cried out in fear a few times and fainted. Fainting? What is going on? Lin Luoran frowns. How can a mere mural make a man faint? Wen Guanjing smiles bitterly. Yes. Chapter 181. We can save him, don't worry, don't worry. Barney quickly waved his hand. The bushman's arrows were coated with poisonous sap, and they could kill animals like antelopes and bison in one shot. Barney was afraid that if there was a conflict, the four of them would die here. A bushman looks at the four of them vigilantly. Soon, other people come to carry the sheik away and drive the four of them away from their camp. Although 3 of the 4 are cultivators, Lin Luoran can't bear to hurt these poor people who are in rags. Even though Wen Guanjing is nicknamed St. and is called Butcher by some foreign cultivators, he is not such a vicious person. The sheik has fainted and the bushmen don't let them get close to him. The only thing they can do now is to wait for the sheik to wake up and then ask him about the murals. The bushmen keep fire all night to drive away the beasts. Besides, the temperature difference between the day and night in the desert is quite big. Without fire, people will feel cold. Barney was a very qualified and conscientious guide. After the 4 of them returned to the jeep, Barney went to gather a lot of firewood and piled it up beside the jeep. It seemed like they would have no problem getting through the night. Lin Luoran watches Barney fiddling with the firewood. She suddenly remembers that they have bought everything except matches and lighters. Cultivators don't need to bring things like that. However, Barney is here, so they can't use spells. Baojia spreads her hands and gloats. She hasn't learned how to cast spells anyway. It is so cool to see that the 2 of them can't use their abilities. However, Barney's behavior makes Lin Luoran feel that the money Wen Guanjing paid is worth it. The 3 cultivators are helpless. Barney, who is dark and thin, picks up a piece of wood with a hole in it. He finds some soft and dry withered grass and puts it in the hole. Then he picks up a thinner stick and starts to drill wood to make fire in front of Lin Luoran. Is this real? Baojia secretly pinches the back of her hand. This is a technical work. She needs to watch it carefully. Barney seemed to be an expert. He spun the wooden stick in his hand quickly and rhythmically, and the friction soon produced a high temperature. Under Barney's patience, smoke gradually came out of the tree hole. Barney screamed twice, and finally, the smoke became thicker. Barney became more cautious, and he placed a few leaves on the withered grass. He bent down and blew on it a few times. Suddenly, a flame sprang up from the smoke. The fire was finally ready. In Barney's eyes, it seemed very normal to drill wood to start a fire without relying on external forces. Some of the beef they bought is in the trunk. They take it out and skewer it on twigs. They are going to have roast beef tonight. The fire is burning slowly. It seems that adding firewood is also a technical work. If the fire is too small, it can't drive away the cold, and if it is too big, the firewood will run out. When the beef gradually turns golden and smells delicious, Lin Luoran and Baojia finally understand why Barney knows this. Barney was also a bushman, but he belonged to a tribe near the edge of a big city. Later, the government planned to designate the area where they used to hunt and migrate as a protected area. The bushmen, who were forbidden from hunting, did not know how to farm, so they had no choice but to disperse. Barney's parents found a small job in the city, and they lived a hard life. They were one of the rare open-minded bushmen, and they sent Barney to school. Although he only finished middle school, Barney was now working as a cashier. Although he was not very successful, he was still very different from the ordinary bushman. However, Barney still remembers the survival skills of the bushman, such as drilling wood to make fire. Fortunately, he can speak English. Thanks to him, Lin Luoran and Baojia have an easy time on this trip. Lin Luoran and Baojia don't like the beef with salt, but Barney is enjoying it. After the beef, the two men leave the jeep to Lin Luoran and Baojia. They are going to spend the night by the fire. The jeep is full of dust. Although Baojia is not a spoiled girl, she has never suffered like this since she was a child. Besides, the mosquitoes keep staring at her when they smell the fresh blood, which is very annoying for her. Lin Luoran closes her eyes to rest in the front seat of the jeep. Baojia occupies the back seat. Hearing the sound of swatting mosquitoes, Lin Luoran is about to cast a cleaning spell on Baojia when she hears Baojia saying in a hoarse voice, "Luoran, I used to think that I had a hard life because I never saw my parents. When I grew up, I had to bring trouble to you and my grandpa. Today, I saw a child who was thirsty and could only chew the roots of plants. Do you think that is a hard life for us?" Baojia's words make Lin Luoran speechless. Lin Luoran still remembers that when she first met Baojia, she was just a girl from the capital. Baojia was always cold and unapproachable. Materially, she was much better than girls from small places like Lin Luoran and Lin Luoran, but what about spirituality? Some people always emphasize that spirituality is the most important thing, but it is only when one can survive, right? For example, in places like Africa, the Bushmen are starving and have no clothes to cover their bodies. Why can they hear their laughter when they first enter the camp? Is this the reason for satisfaction? The more one gets, the more powerful his desire will be. Compared with hard cultivation, Lin Luoran prefers this kind of life. She sighed and decided not to trouble herself with these philosophical questions of merit. Soon she sits in the front seat and meditates. There is fire reiki everywhere in the desert. When Guanjing should like it. Baojia stares at the window and counts the mosquitoes. She has the nature of water and wood, so she can't cultivate in such an environment. She can't fall asleep either. Seeing that Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing are both meditating, she opens the door of the car quietly and wants to get off for some fresh air. Lin Luoran has left her spiritual mind to warn Baojia. She can save Baojia at any time if she is in danger, so she doesn't pay much attention to it. Baojia is sitting on the sand dune in a daze. Suddenly, she makes a sound of surprise and runs to the other side of the sand dune. After a few steps, she disappears in the yellow sand. Lin Luoran suddenly loses the sense of Baojia. She opens her eyes and gets out of the car. She runs to the sand dune. It is windy at night. Sand is flying all over the desert. Night owls are screaming. However, Baojia is nowhere to be found in the endless sand dunes. So fast. Hearing Baojia's voice, she ran out. With her current speed, Baojia, a living person, disappeared under her eyes in just a few seconds. Lin Luoran is about to jump into the sand dune, but her arm is grabbed by a hand. Wen Guanjing is surprised. Seeing that Lin Luoran is about to go into the sand dune, he stops her and says, "Sister Lin, there is something wrong with the sand dune. We may not be able to save her if we go in rashly." Lin Luoran is also worried. She is woken up by Wen Guanjing. She knows that being impatient will only make things worse. Barney was woken up by the noise of the two men's discussion by the fire. Hearing that one of his employers is missing, Barney is very nervous. He takes this kind of thing seriously. She was taken away by the sand. Barney seems to think of something and his face is a bit unnatural. Under Lin Luoran's repeated questioning, he finally tells her about a curse among the Bushmen, which is related to the sandstorm demon. However, he was too young to remember it when he left the tribe. "Chief, find the chief," Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing say at the same time. They both think of the chief's expression when he saw the photo. It seems that he fainted out of fear. There must be a connection between the two. Baojia's disappearance makes Lin Luoran panic. She has no time to care about the feelings of her international friends. She sneaks into the camp of the Bushmen and picks up the young chief, who is still in a coma, as if she were grabbing a chicken. In fact, he is just frightened. Lin Luoran doesn't need any healing spell. Barney pours some cold water into his mouth. After a while, the chief chokes and wakes up. With the help of the fire, the chief sees Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing standing in front of him. It seems that he is still in shock. He points at Wen Guanjing's backpack and says something while trembling. The photo was taken from Wen Guanjing's backpack. After Barney translated with some difficulty, it turned out that the chieftain was repeating the same thing over and over again. The curse of the demons. That's impossible. That's clearly the mural he saw in the underground palace of the secret realm. The colorful halo and the cultivators that constantly entered the halo. This mural is related to the mystery of the disappearance of nascent soul cultivators. How could it be the evil devil's curse? Lin Luoran doesn't want to push the chief. She frowns and says to Wen Guanjing, I suspect that the disappearance of Baojia, the murals, and the curse of the demon may be related. Where did you take the photo? Let's go and find it ourselves. Wen Guanjing says awkwardly, it was taken by an experienced field worker. He couldn't tell the direction in the desert. It said that he lost half of his life, but he can't find this place anymore. To be honest, before this, I have searched this area under the pretext of a mission, but I couldn't find the location of these murals. Except for the owner of this land, these bushmen, I can't think of anyone else who can help us find this place. Lin Luoran is stunned. She was so distracted when she saw the photo that she didn't ask where it came from. It is unreasonable for her to blame Wen Guanjing for the photo. Looking at the frightened chief who is warming himself by the fire, Lin Luoran has to persuade him to help them after they find the murals. The curse of the demon? It doesn't sound good. Lin Luoran hopes that Baojia will be fine. Otherwise, she will feel guilty for the rest of her life. Chapter 182. Looking for someone in the desert? The young bushman chief hesitates. He doesn't want to say yes at all. If Lin Luoran wants to take the chief with her, she must take Barney with her as an interpreter. Lin Luoran can tell that the former is reluctant and the latter is in a dilemma. For the sake of Baojia's safety, Lin Luoran doesn't hesitate at all. She moves her 5 fingers slightly and a golden light is condensed. She slashes the ground. The dry land cracks as if it is split by a sharp knife. The crack is 7 or 8 meters deep. Lin Luoran is controlling it on purpose, but it scares the chief and Barney even more. The chief kowtows to the sky, trembling. He agrees to Lin Luoran's request with an expression that he is ready to die for a righteous cause. However, he makes a very simple request: don't hurt other people in his tribe. Lin Luoran is stunned. In fact, she wants to show them that she is not totally defenseless. However, the chief obviously misunderstands her words as a threat. If it weren't for the fact that she really can't laugh, she might really be amused. Lin Luoran doesn't explain anything since they have different paths to the same destination. On the contrary, Wen Guanjing plays the role of a good cop. He holds Barney's hand and promises him a lot of benefits. The skinny bushman is still frightened, but he can't help swallowing hard. The mixture of fear and temptation could sometimes be a wonderful emotion. Wen Guanjing takes out the photo again. This time, the chief doesn't faint. However, through Barney's interpretation, Lin Luoran gets bad news. According to the legend of the Bushman, this mural of a cultivator flying into the halo first appeared 1,000 years ago. Many Bushmen had seen it. What scared the chief was that even if these Bushmen managed to walk out of the desert and tell the people about the scene in the mural, they would soon die a violent death, and the way they died was too horrible to look at. These words add a little psychological pressure to Lin Luoran. If it were before, she would turn her nose up at the power of curses. However, after becoming a cultivator, she understands that there are too many mysterious powers hidden in this ordinary world. Some of them can't be explained in a few words. However, what makes Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing at a loss is not the curse, but the fact that according to the chief, the rock with the mural appears in different places every time. Even though they know the general direction, it is too difficult to find a rock with the same shape in the vast desert. The chieftain pauses here. Maybe he is afraid that the 2 demons will kill him mercilessly if he tells them everything he knows. This seemingly innocent young bushman chieftain keeps some information to himself. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing don't expect that he dares to keep something from them, so they don't ask further. Lin Luoran clenches her fists unconsciously. She was the one who pestered Baojia to come here. She must be found. This was a semi-desert land filled with sand and gravel. For figures were moving forward with difficulty under a beam of faintly discernible light. The dust is so heavy that the light from the flashlight is weak in this weather. It is just enough to lead the way for Barney and the sheik. The name of the young sheik is Yaki. Lin Luoran doesn't ask him which word it is. In Yaki's mind, she is probably the same as the devil. He talks to Barney and ignores Lin Luoran. We've been walking for almost 2 hours. Let's stop and drink some water. Lin Luoran suggests, which makes Barney smile. Lin Luoran takes out 4 bottles of water and gives one to each of them. She and Wen Guanjing have prepared enough food and water, so they drink up almost half of the bottle. Barney and Yaki, on the other hand, only take a few sips and hide the rest of the water with the bottles because they know the Bushmen well about the desert. Not far away, there is a slight noise. A spark flies out from Wen Guanjing's hand and the small rock explodes. It turns out that it is just a desert lizard. Lin Luoran closes her eyes and tries to release her spiritual mind. This desert is really strange. The deeper she goes, the more her spiritual mind is suppressed. Usually she can sense a few miles, but now she can only sense less than a kilometer. Wen Guanjing is still in the level of training qi, so he can't compare with Lin Luoran, who has a strange ocean of consciousness. Every time Lin Luoran walks forward, she will use her spiritual mind to check the surroundings. On one hand, she is in case of danger, and on the other hand, she doesn't want to miss Baojia. Unfortunately, she finds nothing. This time is no exception. She still finds nothing. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing don't care about the lizard behind the rock. Yaki catches the lizard and hangs it on his waist after killing it. Yaki seems to be more confident when he faces them again. Barney explains. With this 2-foot-long lizard as food, he is confident that he can get out of the desert even if Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing leave Yaki behind. Faced with the distrust of their teammates, Lin Luoran and Lin Luoran have no choice but to continue the journey. The wind and sand cover all the footprints of the creatures. The 4 of them walk for more than 2 hours. The sky is getting brighter. Unexpectedly, a night had already passed. It is still cool in the desert in the morning. They are going to search for more places in the cool weather. Last night, they searched many places and saw at least 100 rock murals. Almost all the places with rocks have the life records of the Bushmen. According to Yaki, the murals are like the Bushmen's diaries, recording what happened in the past. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing both suspect that when cultivators fly into the circle of light, they can see the desert behind them. This is the secret of the cultivation world for thousands of years. Lin Luoran can't believe that she and Wen Guanjing can find it so easily. She tries to control her thoughts. After walking for a whole night, Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing feel hungry. Only Barney and Yaki are walking leisurely, but they are full of energy. If they were not cultivators, they would not be as energetic as the 2 Bushmen. They have the jerky bought by Wen Guanjing for breakfast. They feel it is too dry to swallow, so they have to drink a lot of water. Yaki, on the other hand, looks like he is eating the most delicious food. After breakfast, the 4 of them continue their journey. Before the sun is at its hottest, they find a ruin. Although the broken rocks had long been deformed by the sandstorm, the places that were not buried by the yellow sand could clearly be seen. There was a square encirclement of stone bricks on the ground. In addition to the stone pillars that were in a mess, one could not help but wonder if this was a man-made building in the past. The sun is rising higher and higher. Barney and Yaki, who were alive and kicking in the morning, are hiding in the shade of the broken wall and recovering their strength. Lin Luoran decides to check this place carefully. Just like they did in the underground palace, Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing check around the ruin carefully. To their disappointment, they find nothing. Hiding in the shade, Barney looks at the 2 Easterners and thinks about their gains and losses. The 2 Easterners are not only rich but also powerful. He is a little worried about whether he can get the reward when he goes back. Yaki is muttering to himself. He is complaining that Barney has brought him a disaster. Barney ignores him and picks up a rock from the ground. Looking at the hole on the rock, Barney puts the rock near his mouth. There was a whimpering sound. After testing the sound, Barney actually used a stone to play an intermittent tune. Yaki becomes much quieter. Lin Luoran and Wen Guanjing also feel relaxed. They didn't seem to notice that Yaki's half-closed eyes suddenly changed color. His eyes were filled with red streaks of blood. Sister Lin, we can't search aimlessly like this. We are too slow. Why don't we go around by flying on the sword? Wen Guanjing suggests with a frown. As expected, Lin Luoran refuses. Flying on the sword is fast, but it is too fast. We may miss the clues of Baojia or the murals. Lin Luoran suddenly feels lucky that she gave the universal sack to Baojia. As long as the universal sack is with Baojia, the food and water in it will be enough for Baojia to survive in the desert for a long time, provided that there is no other danger. Wen Guanjing doesn't say anything more. Neither of them knows what they will encounter in this strange desert. It's better to walk. At least it can save Reiki. He hands her a bottle of water. Lin Luoran shakes her head and is about to say something when she hears a scream. She turns around and sees that Barney is strangling Yaki's neck with one hand. Barney is holding the rock he used to play with, which is stained with blood. Barney, what are you doing? Wherever Lin Luoran's palm goes, a gentle force slaps the two men away. Wen Guanjing rushes to Barney and stops him, but Yaki rushes to fight with him. Wen Guanjing kicks Yaki's thin body away, but the latter doesn't stop. Both of them change their target and start to fight Wen Guanjing together. The two of them are not only ordinary people, but also their guides. Wen can't really hurt them, so he doesn't want to kill them. Gradually, he becomes angry. He only felt that his heart was filled with a tyrannical feeling. He wanted to tear these two short, ant-like mortals in front of him to shreds. 2 gusts of wind pass by. It turns out that Lin Luoran has tied up the 2 crazy people with 2 water ropes. When Guanjing's anger subsides a little, Lin Luoran says seriously, "Look at their eyes." Barney and Yaki, who are tied up by the water ropes, stare at Wen Guanjing and Wen Guanjing with red eyes full of hatred. Wen Guanjing is calm, but he is also annoyed by the 2 crazy people. Lin Luoran pauses for a second and says, "Your eyes." She finds that Wen Guanjing's eyes are also bloodshot, and the blood is spreading to the whites of his eyes. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.